fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my God, it's people helping people!
Tonight's episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by Mike Silkowski. He's your local partner in getting your message in front of the right people. Mike specializes in helping businesses right here in Southern Arizona reach their ideal customers through TV and streaming services. He's not just sponsoring this chapter 3 of People Helping People, he's building partnerships, and he doesn't succeed unless you do. If you're ready to grow your business with someone who's invested in your success, call Mike at 515-305-5311. Again, that's 515-305-5311. This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. From kids to adults, beginners to experienced fighters, T-Town Boxing offers a space to grow, train, and challenge yourself. So if you're ready to push your limits and join an amazing community, reach out to T-Town Boxing on Instagram at instagram.com/T-Town-Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Again, that's instagram.com/T-Town-Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. This episode is sponsored by the Diabetes Network of Arizona, a community built by people living with type 1 diabetes for people living with type 1 diabetes. They host Arizona's only family camp for type 1 diabetics, giving kids and family a place to connect, learn, and feel understood. Every dollar raised stays right here in Arizona, helping local families get the care and supplies that they need. No one should ever face diabetes alone, and with your help, they don't have to. You can make a difference today by clicking the donation link in the description. The Diabetes Network of Arizona, building a stronger, healthier Arizona together. Let's get back into the episode.
Really do appreciate it. And again, if you're just joining us, this show is going to be a solo show. I'm going to be talking about my reasons why, my purpose, my drive, the reasons why I do what I do, and why this show means so much to me. So if you have any questions as we go, I want to open the lines to you guys as my viewers and answer any questions or comments that you guys have. And I really do appreciate anybody that's joining us and has been along for the ride. So let's kind of get into it. This might be a bit of a heavy story. I've never really told the full thing from nose to tail because I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and Crohn's disease back in 2018 I want to say on the same day, but I went into the hospital and yeah, I was so exhausted that when I was driving around, I was falling asleep behind the wheel. and would wake up to people honking at me at red lights. So any chance I got, I was just passing out. And I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. At the time, I had an incredible job at corporate AT&T. I had worked my way up the ladder from a salesman to a manager to an integrated solutions expert, to where I had a territory and I was out taking care of business and doing sales, almost like a freelance sales job. And yeah, I just, I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I couldn't figure out why. So eventually I got so tired and so weak and so withered away. I drove myself into the hospital. I remember the last turn before driving myself into the hospital, my arms felt so heavy that it was hard for me to reach the top of the steering wheel to turn the car into the hospital. So I walked into the hospital and, They immediately rushed me in. They looked at me and just rushed me in. I probably wasn't looking too good. They rushed me in, and the first thing they did is they check your blood pressure and, see if you have a fever. And they immediately ran in and checked my blood sugar. And my blood sugar was in the high 600s. And the doctor comes in. He's like, "Oh, so you're a diabetic?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, you're a diabetic." And I'm like, what? Newsflash. So the journey began. And that was one of my two symptoms that I was having. Not only was I really tired, and this may be a little bit graphic, but I was bleeding out of every orifice of my body. Every 15 to 20 minutes, I had to use the restroom. And gosh, it was just, everything was a bloody mess, no matter what. I was throwing up blood. I was having nosebleeds. I was bleeding out of the front, bleeding out of the back downstairs. And it was just a really horrific feeling. I had like convulsions at the time. Like my stomach would just seize up and I would end up puking because there was so much pain. And so the doctor said, "Okay, well, you're type 1 diabetic. We got that dialed in. Let's figure out what's going on with your stomach." And so, oh, hello, Vince. I see you out there. Thank you for joining us. So in any event, they said, let's see what's going on with your stomach. And they started running a bunch of tests on me. They were trying to figure out if I had some kind of very rare bug that I guess I forget it. It had an acronym, and it was this really rare bug that you'd get from the Middle East. And so they kept me in solitary confinement. It felt like I was in an insane asylum because I was in this one room in the hospital that just had one little window. And before people would come in, they would put on hazmat suits. And so I'm laying there. I just learned I'm a type 1 diabetic. And now I'm being handled by people in hazmat suits. And they had to do all kinds of tests. When they're trying to figure out what's going on with your stomach, I mean, I had tubes in and out of every hole of my body at times. And yeah, I really was, I was scared for my life because I was losing weight extremely fast. I walk around comfortably at about 165, 175 pounds. And I think when I went into the hospital, I was about 145 pounds and dwindling quickly. So they're testing me, and I'm in this solitary confinement for almost 2 weeks. And they finally boil it down to having Crohn's, which took almost a month of them testing me in all these different facilities and bringing in experts. And so after that, they sent me home. They said, "All right, well, you're a diabetic. Here's some needles. Here's some insulin. Here's a huge stack of prescriptions." I was on maybe I think 8 different medications, and 6 of which I would have had to have taken for the rest of my life. And so I went home. And I was bouncing in and out of the ER so often. I'd go home and my blood sugars would spike again like crazy, and I couldn't get them down. No matter how much insulin I took, it would spike like crazy. And I eventually would drive myself back to the hospital, and I would sit there for another week or so, 2 weeks. And this happened for a good 6 months. And I remember specifically, I'm down to about 125 pounds at this point. I'm just losing weight so fast. I'm sitting on the toilet. It's just full of blood. I have my head in the, I'm sorry if this is really graphic, but this is the reality of what had happened. I had my head in a bathtub, and the bathtub is full of blood. And yeah, so I ended up driving myself back to the hospital, and I'm sitting there in the ICU. There's people around me that had much worse things going on in their lives. I remember there's people to my left having seizures. The guy to my right, he had some terminal disease. And there I was, and I'm getting poked and prodded and tested, and they're figuring out why, the budesonide and all these other drugs that they gave me aren't helping. So yeah. And my ma calls me, and I remember this moment specifically. My ma calls me, and she is in tears. Now, my Nana wasn't doing so well at the time, her mother. So she calls me. She's completely destroyed. She's in tears. And my papa as well, my Nana's husband, is dying as well. So I'm in the hospital in the ICU. My family doesn't know this at the time. And I remember calling my mom, and she's bawling her eyes out because her mom is passing. And I had to mute the phone because there's so much happening in the ICU, and the heart monitors are going off, and people are coming in to check and make sure I'm still alive. And the guys next to me, I just remember the guy next to me having grand mal seizures all the time. And there's people getting wheeled in and out. I mean, it's chaos for anybody that works in the hospital and caretaking businesses. My hat's off to you, because that is not an easy job. And they definitely saved my life. But anyhow, I'm on the phone with my mom, and I have to mute the conversation so she can't hear that I am clearly in a hospital, and just save face for my mother, because I didn't think that she could handle her son dying in Arizona while she's in Oregon, her mom dying, and her stepdad not doing so well. So I just kept it in. Fast forward, I eventually told my mother after my Nana had passed what was going on. And she came down to visit me, and she had to remind me after she visited me how weak I was. And I'm sorry, guys, this is tough for me to talk about. Like I said, I've never told this story through and through. But she had to remind me how weak I was, because I was on so many pain medications. I was on so many different types of drugs that these doctors were prescribing me just so I could eat food and stay alive. But she had to remind me how weak I was. And, I could barely make it up the stairs without grabbing the railing. And I had to have her open up a bottle of water for me. And I just was laying in my bed. I couldn't do much. And when she left, she told me that she thought it was going to be the last time that she saw me. So she flew down my sister and my cousin to see me before what she thought was an inevitable was going to happen. And my sis and my cuz, they come to visit me, and I'm still in the bed, withering away. I'm down to about 120 pounds at this point. Just skin and bones. There's nothing left. My body has eaten itself and has come out of me in any which direction. So they came to visit me, and they really put on a good show. And what they had told me afterwards is that every time they left the room, they would just break down crying because of the state that I was in, the way that I was looking and acting and feeling. So, yeah, it was a scary time, to say the least. And fast forward, I'm still alive, thankfully, right? But fast forward, and I called my mom because I lost my AT&T job. They fired me because of this situation. I was about to well, I lost my house, but I was on the cusp of losing my house when I called my ma, and I lost everything. So I had worked my way up this corporate ladder. I had built this life that I loved, and it all just came crashing down. My health was the number one priority. It doesn't matter about the things that I had built, but when I look back now, I'm like, man, I really, really was proud of myself and the things that I had accomplished, and all of that was stripped away from me, as well as my manhood, as well as my willingness and ability to take care of myself was all stripped away from me. So I called my mom, and in the first time in my life, because I'm a prideful individual to a fault, I asked for help. And she, of course, was just ecstatic, like, woohoo, come on home. Like, I cannot wait to have you back at the house. And it was a tough pill to swallow, because now at the tail end of 29 years old, I'm about to be a 30-year-old man, and I'm back at home. Well, I get there, I pack up everything, and I go drive to Oregon. And I remember driving my 4Runner back to Oregon. Excuse me. I remember driving my 4Runner back to Oregon, and I always stop in San Diego. There's something, Venice Beach. I like to stop at the beach when I can. And I stopped, and I was looking out at the ocean and thinking, I've really lived a lot of life. It's okay. So so anyways, I head north, and I make it home. So it's all good. I'm back at the house. I apologize, guys, but I make it home, and now the recovery begins. I eat one meal for 6 months. I eat nothing but carrots, potatoes, celery, and onions. I blended them up, and I ate that stew with nothing else but salt and water for 6 months, just to see if I could recover. My stomach was still a mess. I was still skinny, and it started working. I started putting on weight. And it was slow, but I started putting on weight. And I had these 2 dumbbells that, I just put in the reps that I could. It wasn't much, but I put in the reps that I could. And eventually I got to the point where I could go to the gym. So I did. Day 1 in the gym was me walking in and going on the stair stepper for maybe 30 seconds. I was still very frail, maybe 135 pounds at this point. I'd put on a good amount of weight from where I was, but I was so frail. So I go in for a minute on the stair stepper, and I'd be completely winded, sweating, and hobble out of there. And I go home, and I'd say, all right, one more day. And yeah, so day 2, I go back to the gym, and I'd say, all right, go hit that stair stepper. And I did. And it'd be 2 minutes the next day. And then the next day, we bump it up to 5. And so on and so forth, until finally, I was to the point where I could really work out. And I was spending, an hour, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. I mean, it was such an amazing escape and getaway from being home and sick. And trying not to wallow in the fact that I was a 30-year-old man living at home with his parents because I was so sick. I needed help to recover. Then I ended up going down to Mexico. I went to Mexico because I heard that there was a cure for type 1 diabetes or a cure for autoimmune diseases, and that was stem cells. So I went to Mexico, my mom and I got stem cells. Granted, I was still having stomach issues. I was still having a lot of ups and downs and highs and lows with my diabetes because I was learning now how to become a diabetic after 28 years of never even really looking into it or knowing much about it. So I'm relearning how to eat. I'm relearning how to live. I'm relearning how to hydrate. I'm relearning how to exercise and rebuilding my body, my mind, everything around me. And I went down and got stem cells. Stem cells changed my life in so many ways. Now, did they cure me of type 1 diabetes? No. Did they cure me of Crohn's disease? No. But what stem cells did was they gave me the energy to be able to take on more. The energy that I got from the stem cells was unlike anything else. When your health is stripped from you and you don't have the energy that you used to have, and then all of a sudden, within one injection, one drip, you're back to where you used to be, if not better. So I had this new outlook on everything. I was so excited because I finally felt that energy again. And I have to advocate for stem cells for anybody that feels like they may need them. You have to get them out of the country to go get something potent enough, because they dole them down here in the United States and actually ban the best stem cells that you can get here in the US. So I'm a huge advocate for stem cells because they absolutely 100% saved my life. So fast forward, I've got my stem cells. I'm back in the gym. I'm putting on weight. I'm trying to learn continuously, and it's still an uphill battle. This is 2019. Still learning how to be a diabetic. Still learning how to function. I get home and I continue to push forward. I continue to try and weed out all these medications that these doctors had put me on. And, through me stepping into a diet that changed my life, I was able to do so. And the diet that changed my life was the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet isn't just a diet that, I don't know, a lot of people just, they have so many qualms with meat, which I understand. It's really hard to find good meat. But what the carnivore diet does for you is it mitigates all the other shit that you put in your body on a daily basis. I'm talking anything that's processed at all, refined sugars, the flour that we put in our body. I mean, absolutely anything and everything. And it allows your body to have a reset. It allows your body time to replenish and rejuvenate. So I did the carnivore diet, and the carnivore diet changed my life as well. It completely helped me get my Crohn's under control. And these stem cells, in conjunction with the carnivore diet, got me to a point where I was so strong that I took on one of the most physically demanding jobs in the United States. And I took on this job for multiple reasons. And I see you guys leaving comments over there. I am 100% going to address all of your comments and questions after I finish this story. And I really appreciate everybody stepping in and hearing me out. And I'm sorry, this is a bit of a heavy episode. I'm trying to lighten it up a little. But this is my why. This is my reason. So I stepped into one of the most physically demanding jobs in the United States and went out to the oil field. Now, I went out to the oil field to test myself, to prove to myself. I had lost so much self-love. I had lost so much manhood. I had lost so much self-respect. And my self-talk was so bad that I had to take on something that would allow me to prove to myself that I'm still worthy. And so I took on a job in the oil field. I was a wireline operator out there. For anybody that knows anything about the oil field, I'll give you a little inside baseball. I was a wireline operator in the oil field. We worked 20 days on, 10 days off. A lot of times we would work through those 10 days and do a 50-day run. We would work 16 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week until our time off. And again, sometimes we work through our days off. So coming from doing stem cells, eating this diet, touch and go at the gym, now I'm in the oil field. And I remember after day one in the oil field, I had to go to Walmart. And I was so fucking beat up. I was having a hypoglycemic attack. I have my cart in front of me, leaning over the cart, could barely walk because I had huge blisters on the bottom of both of my feet. My ankles were swollen. My knees were fucked up. My shoulders, I'd never twisted pipe wrenches like that before. And I walked through with my head down on the shopping cart. And it took me about an hour, hour and a half to go get some groceries for the next day. And I woke up and I did it again. And I woke up and I did it again. And I woke up and I did it again. And I did that because, again, I needed to prove to myself that I was worthy, that I still had my manhood, and that I could earn respect from hard work from the people around me. Because I didn't know if I was capable anymore after what I had been through. So in 6 months of me being there, I became a lead operator, which a lot of my friends that I worked alongside were lead operators, and it took them years to get to those positions. I worked my fucking ass off. I woke up before everybody, made sure my whole crew was ready to go. After every single job, we'd build these giant pipe bombs and we break down. They're called barrels. After every single shift, I would spend the extra hour and a half to 2 hours to go drive all of our barrels off the location. And that earned me a lead position out there. And it was the most gratifying, it was the most fulfilling, and feeling that respect from people because of what I had done in the short period of time. And nobody knew my story. Nobody knew where I came from. I kept that shit under wraps. But I knew that I just came from absolutely nothing and just was stripped of everything, and I had to rebuild. And I'm really happy that I did, because it gave me a new sense of confidence in myself as an individual. And when I was sick, completely stripped me of an ego that I didn't even realize that I had until after the fact. So that leads us to today, where I'm a type 1 diabetic who also suffers from Crohn's disease. I still have both. They don't just go away. And I'm here trying to make an impact and give back and spread wisdom, love, and hopefully my story can help somebody else who needs to take one day at a time. If they've been stripped of everything, it's never too late. And it just takes a little bit of grit and a little bit of time. And if you just never bite off more than you can chew and start with baby bites. You can really accomplish so much. And I hope that this inspires somebody out there. You know what? I'm going to show you guys a photo of myself at 120 pounds. I really want to show you guys just behind the curtains. Like I said, I want my audience to be along for the ride. I want you guys to be able to, oh God, this is really hard to look at. Hopefully relate. And let me show you, when I was at my sickest at 120 pounds, like I said, this is tough for me to even look at. Oh boy. But yeah, this is me at 120 pounds, basically on my deathbed. And now I'm walking around at anywhere from 172 to 175 pounds. And I'm so grateful that these two diseases didn't take me out, because now I'm here with a platform, able to connect with people and show them that there is a way. If you have grit and you have support, there is a way. So anyways, that's that photo. And I really appreciate you guys listening to my story. Like I said, I've never told it in full, and I'm sure I left out a bunch of details. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the comments here, and let's open some discussion between us. I really do appreciate you guys being here and hearing me out. Let's see what we've got. Okay. Let's go through some comments. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for all the support. Kayla Coffee, I see you out there. I'm so happy you made it through. I love you so much. I love you too, Kayla. And I couldn't have done what I did without your help. I met Kayla 6 years ago, and she was there by my side when I was so sick. And she just did not want to leave my side. And we come back 5.5, 6 years later, and I went home to get help because I needed it. And she was here. And now I get to call her my girlfriend. And I am just such a lucky person, because she's so perfect. And I'm just happy that we get to build something together. So I love you too, baby. Tomcat, we see you out there. He says, stem cells are dope. Yes, they are. I just got off the phone with my uncle earlier, actually. And he had said that his girlfriend just went and got stem cells in her knee and I believe her lower back. And her hair is growing thicker. Her nails are growing thicker. Her skin is looking better. Her knee is doing better. Her back is feeling better. Her arthritis is going away. Stem cells are dope. You are right. Tomcat. Does this dude take beef liver? By this dude, he says, does this dude take beef liver? By this dude, I assume you mean me. And yes, I do in capsule form. I tried to eat it when I was on the actual carnivore diet, and I just couldn't stomach it. I couldn't do it. So I don't know. Maybe you guys have a good way of preparing beef liver, because I would like to. It's just so freaking packed of nutrients. And I would love to be able to eat it just for the health benefits, but I take capsules. Probably not quite as nutrient dense, but yeah. That's what it was. Tomcat says, what job? I was a wireline operator in the oil field. So we built massive pipe bombs, and we called them barrels. You'd spin the barrels together with a giant steel sub in the middle that would hold the barrels. You'd lift that up with a crane, and you drop those huge guns about 5 miles deep. And then they get pushed with water all the way underground. Then a logger would blow up the barrels, which would perforate the line, and they suck the oil out. So, yeah, we were wireline operators. Tough gig. And, I destroyed my body out there. And it was in North Dakota. So, it'd be -30 with a -60-degree wind chill. And as a diabetic, you don't have very good circulation. I had a bunch of hardware in my ankle, a bunch of screws and nuts and bolts. I never complained about it. Nobody ever knew about it. But when it was negative temperatures, which all winter it is, that shit would hurt so bad. And it would seize up on me. And I'd come home and I forget what it's called, but my leg would be so swollen and I'd press on it and my fingerprint would go in like an inch and just stay there for, 10 minutes. I forget what that's called. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out with that. But I was just overworking my body. It was hard to stay hydrated because if you're not working, people can die. So yeah, it was wild. Tomcat says, I hope you made some cash in the oil field. I mean, I think, yeah, we made some cash for sure. You don't put somebody, and it's not even like we made crazy hourly wages, but you're working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for 20 days in a row. So even if the wage was $5 an hour, you're working so much overtime that it's good money. And if anybody wants to go to the oil field, I can connect you. I mean, it's good work if you need to save some cash real quick. And Kayla Coffee Studios. And if you don't follow Kayla Coffee Studios, go follow her on Instagram. She's about to fire up a bunch of new artwork. Her art studio is all set up. And Kayla Coffee Studios. Go check out her stuff. She's going to be full-fledged artiste here soon. So we're looking forward to that. Tomcat says beef liver tablets rock. That's where I'm at. I mean, I think you mean pills, right? Because that's what I take. The beef liver capsules. I take 4 of them a day and they do rock. I feel great. Maybe someday I can run you guys through the stack of things that I do take to help with my body and cognitive function and hair growth and all these things. But I do have quite the stack of things, including NMN and resveratrol and some really like lucrative, I don't want to say anti-aging, but they're things that help with your mitochondria and cellular regrowth and things like that. So maybe someday I can run you guys through that stack if that's something you're interested in. Tomcat says, what is your current height and weight? So I am 5'11" and 170, I think it was 172 pounds today, but I fluctuate 170 to 175 and feeling real strong. So that's good. And like I said, in that story, I got down to 120 pounds. So I was a real frail individual. Tomcat says, you look like a vegan or something back then. I know. Yeah. I looked like I was dying for sure. And I don't know if that's a stab at vegans, but if being a vegan works for you, who cares? If it works for you and you feel good being a vegan, more power to you. I just happen to feel great running off fat in a state of ketosis. And being that I'm a diabetic, that's such a low carb diet, or no carb really, unless you have a little bit of honey. But it's such a low carb diet that I really felt like a freaking superhero, waking up in the morning with energy, just bouncing out of bed. The hardest part of that diet for me, though, was keeping fat on the body. I was down to 3.2% body fat. Not healthy. So I had to bounce off of there and start getting some fat back in my system. Let's see. Seizure Boy 420. I'm also dealing with a lot. You can say Crohn's, seizure disorder, and NF1 7-inch tumor in my lower back, but I still make it through each day. Oh man. I'm sorry you're going through that, brother, but listen, you are exactly right. You just take this one day at a time. And if there's anything that we can do to support you, you let us know, because what you're talking about is not easy. I can only imagine the pain that you go through. And, I want to know how people helping people can support you guys. So just continue to do what you're doing, man, and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you just keep pushing, try eliminating anything processed in your diet if you can. And, just give yourself the best edge that you possibly can to make the most of what you can. I appreciate you commenting and jumping in the chat with us here. David Castillo, Type 1 brother, I see you out there. Great show, brother. I love you, my guy. Great show, my brother, he says. Thank you. That means a lot. Gosh, I don't know if I'm going to regret freaking getting emotional on a live stream, but that was a tough one. God, I haven't had to relive a lot of that in a long time, which is a good thing. So, but I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate the feedback. David Castillo, he's out there. He's a fellow type 1 diabetic. That is my diet brother right there. And, if you didn't see our chat about type 1 diabetes, go to the youtube.com/@ People Helping People Live. Go and watch David Castillo and I have a discussion as two type 1 diabetics and really just lay it all out. We had such a good time. We talked about the highs, the lows, pun intended, and it was really a great discussion. I can't wait to have David back on because he's been through a lot and he's got a lot of wisdom to share. So we love you, brother. Thank you for being a part of the show. Tanner Surratt, what's up, George? Ted, my guy. He's in the stream right now. I love you, bro. It's good to see you. And if you guys have any questions too, please ask in the stream. We just went through my whole life story. Well, maybe not even close to my whole life story, but we went through my story of being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and Crohn's at 28 years old. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I have not drank since January 14th of 2019. I completely cut that out of my life because I don't know if I could manage drinking and being a diabetic. I don't know. I've never tried. So I've completely cut that out of my life. And it's been super fruitful as well. So if anybody else out there, I don't like to say that I'm sober because I did it for health reasons and I drank on weekends before. But if anybody out there is sober, shout out to you. And it takes a long time to learn how to go and do things sober. You don't realize like when you go out and dance but I'm fine now. So we're all good. Tisa Rat, I love you, brother. Thank you for coming in. Tomcat, shout out Kayla. For real, shout out Kayla. Kayla Coffee Studios. Go follow her. She's freaking awesome. And she's going to have so much art for you guys. And we're going to have a little screen up here when she gets the studio completely set up and she's back in her groove where you guys can just tune in, watch her create, So that'll be super fun. Tomcat says, can you share? Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I skipped one. Seizure Boy 420. I work out, eat right, push hard, and it helps me make it through every day. Dude. As you should. That is beautiful, man. Continue that, and continue to help other people do the same. Like, that's beautiful, man. You got a lot on your plate, and it sounds like you just continue to just take one day at a time and do the best that you can do. You're not always going to beat yourself the day before. That's okay. As long as you do the best you can do and eating right and move your body. I always say the first step to death is complacency. So move your body. And man, it sounds like you're doing all the right things. And I appreciate you being in here with us and sharing some of your story, man. Tomcat, can you share your stack? Yes, not right now, but I will share my stack because I think I have, probably 10 pills that I take a day. Anything from NMN, like I said, resveratrol, TMG. I can just go off the top of my head. Some beef liver, D3, K2, L-tyrosine. Yeah, that's it for now. But yeah, it's a crazy stack. Tomcat says, sounds like a dangerous job. At least you still got all your fingers. Thank God. I did get frostbite on my ear though. And I have both my ears. So just that's a good thing. But I got frostbite bad on my left ear, and I got frostbite on my fingertips, not quite as bad. But when they get cold, even a little bit cold, it takes like 6 hours to warm them back up. So the damage is done. Fuck you, oil field. I mean, it's such a double-edged sword. You gave me all the tools to be able to do what I'm able to do now, but still, you totally destroyed me in multiple physical ways. So we made some sacrifices out there. 857 Tucson. Yeah, that is Damien over there. He is the man. We had him on the stream as well a few days ago. So if you want to catch up with Damien, we had a great sit down conversation about what he's got going on, what his goals are in the future. And really, we just embodied what people helping people is all about and just dove into how we can help support Damien in any which way. And yeah, he runs the 857 Tucson Facebook page. Thank you for, he says, hey guys, thanks for sharing your story of recovery, Alexander. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Like I said, I haven't opened those wounds in a long time. So it was kind of tough for me to get through that. But I really do appreciate you guys stepping in and listening. Tomcat says, are you talking about Charlie horse? Those can be super painful. Hydration. I don't remember what that was in reference to. That was about 10 minutes ago. Let's see. Seizure Boy 420, 2020 had 4 brain surgeries to help fix the seizures, and it somewhat did. Gosh, I don't have my glasses, you guys. I'm really sorry. Oh, I see. Okay, so he had 4 brain surgeries, and it did help, but not completely. Still stuck with meals. Let's see, and still having seizures, just not as often. Man, that's really tough. That is really tough. I think the only time that I've ever experienced anybody having seizures, which I think everybody should be trained on how to deal with somebody who's having seizures, because it's so scary. So scary. I was in the ICU. And the guy next to me was having grand mal seizures consistently, like probably every hour or so. And I remember screaming at the nurses, like this guy needs help right now. He's clenching his teeth so hard that you can almost hear his teeth breaking. It was awful. So nothing but love for you, my brother. And thank you for coming in and leaving a comment with us. Tomcat says, impressive body transformation. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. From 120 pounds on up to 172 as of yesterday. And we are not looking to gain any more weight. We're looking to maintain. We're looking to stay healthy. We're looking to feel fit. And I'm in my mid 30s now. So I'm good. I am good. I'm feeling good, and that's what it's all about. Endeavor to preserve says, dude, with some cool glasses on. Yeah, dude, I'm with you. Let's see. Bugs 420 ounce says, you're doing great work, dude. Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I just want to help people so damn much. So this is the epitome of everything I've ever learned, with the production company. I started Type 1 production to hopefully give back to people with type 1 diabetes. And I still want to do that with this show. I still want to give back, but I have the production company. I've, been making music my whole life and filming and taking pictures, and all of that boils down to this: people helping people. And I get to put all those skills that I thought were just throwaways and dang it, this didn't work out or that didn't work out. And I get to put them into one show. So thank you, Bugs 420 OZ. I love the name, man. That's great. Tomcat says, alcohol is empty calories. It really is. Yeah. And, I say that when I'm 60 years old and I'm sitting on my piece of land and I got a nice little porch with a nice porch swing, maybe I'll crack open, some whiskey. I'll have some whiskey on the rocks with a nice cigar. But until then, I feel better without booze. I don't need booze to go out and have fun anymore. A couple of years, it's like working out for real. I had to go out and force myself not to drink and have fun. And it wasn't easy. How can I be social without a couple of drinks? But you learn. It's a skill and you learn. Tanner Surratt says, thank you for being strong and pulling through, brother. The world is better with you in it. Oh, come on. I've done enough freaking. I've done enough tearing up this episode. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. Seizure 420. Seizure Boy 420 says, it's a lot better now. I used to have seizures daily. Now it's like one every month. Dang. That's, like I said, that's such a scary thing. And I think, again, it's really important for people to go to a class to, one, know how to administer CPR. To know how to administer CPR, I cannot tell you how fucking important that is. When shit hits the fan and somebody needs help, somebody's got to step up. You need to know how to do the Heimlich, help somebody who's having a seizure, and administer CPR. Those three things. When people are scrambling and you know what to do, take control of the situation and help a human being out, you can save a life. So I cannot emphasize that enough. They're super, super important. Also, Seizure Boy 420 says, also was on 6 meds before surgery, now only 3. Good for you. We love it. Keep it up, man. I would love for you to just keep checking back in with us and letting us know how you're doing, because that is amazing, man. That is amazing. Yeah. I'm taking 0 medication besides insulin. I was on a huge stack of meds and I am on 0 medication now because of my lifestyle. Do I still struggle? Yeah. Do I still have stomach pains? Yes. Do I still have to take insulin and watch out for highs and lows? Absolutely. But I'm off of all prescriptions. I am off of all prescription drugs that they told me I had to be on for the rest of my fucking life. And we did it. We made it. So Alicia Surratt, we see you out there. I'm super happy for you, Alex. She says, thank you. And I love you guys. I miss you guys. I'm going to be in Oregon in September. So if anybody, any of my people from Oregon are watching the show, I'm going to be in Oregon in September. So I hope to see you guys. I hope to get to reconnect with my people. Yeah. And, this has been a crazy episode. I'm just surprised that I came on and talked about all this stuff. I don't know if I should be bashful or proud, but I sure hope it helps somebody, Smoking Molly Collie. He says, I got to smoke a cig now. BRB. Get it, brother. Get it. And that's my one addiction, no shame. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I'm still addicted to nicotine. I have been for, 20 some odd years. That's my one vice. I don't drink. I don't really do anything else, but I definitely need my nicotine. So there's that. I just take my little nicotine pouches and it's good to go. But in any event, I want to shout out our sponsors real quick. Let's jump over there and give some love to the people that are loving on us. And thank y'all for coming into the show as well. All right, here we go. This one's for you, T-Town. This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing. Tucson's home for boxing isn't just a boxing. God dang, T-Town. We love you guys. Jake over there at T-Town, he runs an awesome gym. So we really appreciate your support, and we are proud to be representing T-Town Boxing here in Tucson. Let's see. I'm going to jump into a few more comments. If anybody has any questions, I'm willing to just run this. If people have questions for me, I'm willing to run this show as long as we need to. If we die out of community outreach and comments, then we'll just end the live. But again, I just shared that story with you all, and I appreciate you listening. And Boogs 420 OZ, he says, be proud, brother. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that is for you guys. I don't like to share that stuff. I don't like to share that stuff often. So you guys, I hope to hook something from that. I hope that a little bit of triumph in your life, hearing that it's doable, can help you through whatever you got going on. Miguel Vasquez, dude, I cannot wait to get you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, he is an incredible artist, or musician, I should say, or hip hop artist. And we're going to have him on the show soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. Miguel Vasquez says, let's see. Gosh, I need glasses, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sharing your story, brother. Much respect. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I didn't know how that would be received, to be honest. So that really means a lot to hear the feedback. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Kayla Coffee Studio says, how's your coffee? How's your coffee? My coffee's delicious. Speaking of coffee and being healthy and all these things, my girlfriend has made the most delicious chocolate that's just like 5 healthy ingredients. No, gosh, what is the word I'm even looking for? No preservatives, no foods that are synthetic. I mean, it's just like the most delicious, delicious. Oh, I can't talk anymore. That was a tough show for me, guys. Yeah, but anyways, a super healthy chocolate. Maybe we could do a little cooking segment. Would you guys be into that? Do a little cooking segment where we show you the healthiest chocolate in the world. Or, gosh, what else does she make? She makes a killer, delicious, all fresh watermelon mojito with, obviously it's virgin, but it's so good. And yeah, now I'm drinking this amazing coffee that she made me before the show. So I love you, baby. Thank you for doing that. We can enjoy it together. It's so good. Endeavor to pressure. How much has your insulin price dropped? I have been hoarding insulin for a long time. I was on state provided insurance when I was in the oil field. This is going to be an exciting show. All right, let's make sure our Instagram is up and running. We are looking good. Very nice. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to dive right in and say, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another amazing episode of People Helping People. Before we dive into this amazing conversation with my brother here, David, We're going to kick off a little bit of intro music, and then we're going to get things fired off. So here we go. Let us know if you guys can hear us okay out there.
What's everybody fighting for?
It's so funky.
Why can't people help people?
Nice.
That's the question.
Oh my gosh, it's people helping people.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is day 2 of 30 live shows in 30 days. And I am so excited. I'm sitting here with my brother, David Castillo.
Yes, sir,
welcome
my
to the
man.
show, man.
Thank you for
Welcome
having
to
me.
the show. Absolutely. And, you know, you and I have, we got a lot in common for one, but there's so many things that, you know, we can relate on. And I think one of the big topics is that you and I are both type 1 diabetics. And I want to dive deep into that because it's something that a lot of people are not only being diagnosed with as we speak, but a lot of people have lived with this ailment. I don't even like to call it an ailment or disease. I think it's a superpower, to be honest. But they've lived with this their whole lives, and or were diagnosed at a very young age.
Yeah.
And so I definitely want to dive into that. But before we get into that, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, let people know who you are.
David Castillo. I am a California native originally. Been here in Tucson about 11 years, I believe. Got to meet this great man back in 2021, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A big fan of him. Huge supporter of him, being a type 1 diabetic and everything he does, and making people reach out and help each other like he does.
Awesome. Dude, well, yeah, we appreciate you coming onto the show, man. And yeah, you touch on that. It's like you really have been such a supporter of the things that I've done in life. And I met you just a couple years after being diagnosed.
Yeah.
And I was kind of on my comeback journey. You know, for those of you that don't know, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes late in life. Of the 1% of individuals that don't eat themselves into diabetes, I was diagnosed at 28 years old, and almost lost my life multiple times. And on my way back, my journey to recovery and learning how to be a diabetic, I ran into you. And how did that start out? Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was at the hut. Excuse me. I was at the hut, and I remember I was hanging out with my friends, and I was headed to the dance floor. I remember walking onto the dance floor, and it's a real big thing for me. Like, my eye finds diabetics, like I call them diabetics out in the wild.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember seeing, I think you had a Dexcom on or something.
Yeah.
You had the same thing I did. And I remember approaching you, and I was like, bro, are you a diabetic? And you're like, yeah. I remember just giving you a hug. And I was like, yes. Like,
Yeah.
but it feels so good for being a type 1 diabetic, seeing other individuals out being themselves, enjoying life, you know, not just staying home and being afraid to show, you know, this side of this illness. Like, we are regular people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's so rare that you come across another diabetic, like I said, out in the wild,
Yeah.
day to day. I can't go out tomorrow and see another diabetic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so that's how I remember meeting you.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, right away, I was just like clicked on, like,
Yeah.
I found a bro.
Yeah, for sure.
know what I mean?
Buddies for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember that as well, man. And like you said, meeting diabetics is so few and far between.
Yeah.
Like, even since I've been diagnosed, I have not had a sit down real conversation with another diabetic yet. And
Yeah.
it's been, gosh, so 2018, 6 years, give or take. And yeah, I haven't had a real conversation with another diabetic. So I want to thank you for one, coming onto the show.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to run through your experience as a diabetic, right? Because I think there's a lot of diabetics. Well, we keep things under the surface because nobody can really understand the struggle.
Yeah.
It's-
That's a really, really big thing, I think, for being a diabetic. Like you said, yeah, we don't really, it's not like we go out like, hey, we got diabetes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Even though I have it blasted on my neck.
yeah,
But, you know?
right. Yeah, exactly. Like, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real thing though. And the same, I haven't sat down and had a talk with a diabetic, you know, who's gone through it and gone through the struggles of the ups and downs and just feeling like you got hit by a train or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Never, I've had it 23 years, bro. I got diagnosed when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm 35, about to be 36 now. So obviously a lot of complications come with diabetes, as you know. And yeah, they're scary at times. They are very scary. Can't tell you how many times I've woken up in the hospital not knowing how I've gotten there.
Oh,
You know what I mean, bro? Like, big shout out to my lady, Sonia. Hey, love you. But I remember waking up in the bed and I already had my daughter. I already had Marley. She was only like a year. And I woke up, bro, and I had an IV in my arm. I'm just like, damn, what the hell is going on, right? So I popped my head up. There's a bunch of dudes in my room. Like, what the hell? I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Where am I right now?
I'm like, what? And I seen who they were. And they're like, yeah, your sugar was at like 5. And, you know, they're like, your girlfriend called me or called us. And yeah, like, so cases like that, they suck. I mean, unfortunately, it comes with being a diabetic, as you know. I mean, one of your last podcasts, you had a low sugar. Yeah. And I mean, me and you know the symptoms. Yeah. You know, we'll start sweating. We'll get shaky, incoherent, not know what's going on. You handled it quite well, by the way. I seen you sweating. You're just like, I'm like, oh man, bro, sugar's going low.
Going
like,
through it.
Give me some juice me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's a real hassle, man.
Let's dive into that a little bit, man, because I take me back to, you said you were diagnosed at 12 years old.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So at 12 years old, you were diagnosed. Was this something that ran in your family or were you the first?
Yeah. So I never knew my biological father.
Same.
Yeah. He was never in my life. So when I got diagnosed, it was kind of just like a slap of like reality. Just like my whole life changed. You feel me? Like, and we couldn't figure it out. And I love my mom because she's always been my biggest supporter, you know, and she thought originally it came from her but no one, so my mom's is adopted. So she didn't know if anyone on her side had it. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's kind of like a ball toss, or maybe I just got screwed in the pooch and got cut with a chronic illness. You know what I mean? But I found out, it's a weird story. I'm trying to make it short. One of my friends in high school, I found out that his uncle was my dad. Whoa. Yeah, it was random as hell. I only seen one picture of my pops or my real dad, but my mom's. And so my buddy on Facebook posted a picture of him. He's like, rest in peace, Uncle Poogie. I was like, what? I was like, how you know him? He's like, that's my uncle. I was like, nigga, that's my dad. He's like, what? Whoa. Yeah, like mind blown, right?
Holy shit.
Never knew anything. We lived in the same hood and all that stuff. But so that opened up a whole nother realm of family, because he started reaching out to like my aunties on that side, and they started hitting me up, whoop-de-whoop, and I started asking, like, has anybody in our family got diabetes? Yeah. And they're like, you know, all your aunties have diabetes. Whoa. And I was like, damn, like, okay, so that's where it came from. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I knew it was in my blood. I knew it was my DNA. So
and how old were you when you were figuring this all out?
Oh, damn. About getting it from my dad. Side?
Okay, so you get diagnosed at 12.
Yeah.
Right? And then did you figure out that he was your father after the fact and then start asking all these questions? Or
I think I found out that it came from his side. I think it was like my first semester in college.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like 19, 20.
Okay, so you'd had it for a while.
Yeah, I was more grown up. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was a big shock. It's kind of like a stress relief because I can tell my mom it didn't come from her. You know what I mean? Our moms are like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? That's their job, but it didn't come from my mom's. Yeah. So that's where I ended up getting it from. It was hereditary.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did things change? So, you know, up to 11 years old, up to 12 years old, kind of walk me through when you were diagnosed. Were you in a state of ketoacidosis, or was it like what had happened?
Man, so I was at a jazz festival in Long Beach because my best friend, one of my best friends, his dad was he used to set up like stages and stuff. So we had VIP access and all that good stuff for 2 days. And so I was just being a 12-year-old kid, eating brownies, eating a bunch of random stuff. You know what I mean? I wasn't a sugar fanatic. Don't get me wrong, by all means. Yeah. I barely drank any soda. But I remember we went to the Queen Mary, dude, and no joke, bro, like every 10 minutes, I was peeing like a gallon of piss. Oof. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so I remember walking around the Queen Mary and like getting really, really lightheaded. Like my vision was shutting out, and I was just like, damn, like this is weird,
Mhm.
you know. And I was like, can we go back? So we went back to the jazz festival, left that place at like 10 o'clock at night, got to my boy's crib back in the hood, and he lived like a block away from me. And I remember going to sleep on his couch, and I woke up like every 15 minutes having to drink something. Well, I mean, back where we lived, you didn't really drink the tap water. You know what I mean? So, but the only thing he had was like Dr. Pepper, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm waking up and I'm chugging this Dr. Pepper, dog. I must have chugged like a whole 2 liter.
Yeah.
And the same thing, I'm pissing my brains out. I'm like, damn, what's going on? You know what I mean? I woke up early in the morning because at this point, my nerves were shutting down from having such a high sugar.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, bet. Like I said, he lived right around the block from me. And it took me like a half hour to get there, which is not normal at all. And so I got home, woke up my mom's, and she's like, all right, you know, I'll come check on you right now. I went and sat on the couch in the living room. I think I blacked out for a while because I don't really remember exactly what happened. But my mom said she came in, I looked like a zombie.
Oof.
So her and my uncle.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Your little boy is just like not doing good.
And I had lost like 26 pounds in those 2 days. Yeah. So they put me in the car. We're driving to the emergency room. I'm like, damn, like I'm thirsty. You know, being high blood sugar, you got cotton mouth. Yeah. I mean, you cannot swallow. No matter what you do, you're like choking.
Yeah.
So she's like, what do you want? Well, if you're really high blood sugar, you crave more sugar. It's weird. Believe me, it sounds weird, but it's a real thing. Your body is like, give me more. So I was like, I'm thirsty. So we went to 7-Eleven, man, and she got me an extra large Slurpee. And I don't blame my mom for any of that. You know what I mean?
How could she have known?
Yeah, and I was a 12-year-old kid, bro.
Yeah.
You feel me? I was like, man, just give me a Slurpee. So I chugged that Slurpee, got to the emergency room. They signed me in. My uncle went with me to the restroom. And I remember I was standing in the urinal, dog, and I was just like, I felt like beyond intoxicated. Yeah. I was so messed up, and my nerve endings in my legs gave out. I remember I was peeing, and I just fell, boom, and I smacked my head on the wall. So my uncle picks me up, right? And he puts me on the counter. And he's like, you're getting my nephew back there now. So sure enough, they take me back there, and they start doing all these tests. Like, he doesn't have a fever, whoop-de-whoop. His blood pressure's fine. And then the nurse checks my sugar. She runs out of the room. And I remember I was fainting. Like, I was blacking in and out of consciousness, man. And shit was crazy. And I remember the doctor came in. My mom's over there like freaking out. And he's like, how long has he been diabetic? And being 12 years old, I didn't know what the hell diabetes was.
Yeah, what'd you just call me?
I'm like, is that a dinosaur? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what was going on. So my mom's like, he's not a diabetic.
Yeah.
He's like, ma'am, he has a sugar of 1,350 right now.
Oh my.
And I was still conscious. I'm like, I was hungry because I didn't eat for 2 days. Keep that in mind. Like those 2 days I was there, I ate probably like a brownie, and then my sugar started going up.
Yeah.
So I was hungry. I'm like, man, you got to feed me, doc. Like, I am starving.
Yeah.
And like, I was thin. He's like, we're not going to feed you.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to pump you full of fluids. And so he walked my mom outside the hallway. I remember like 3 nurses came in, bro. My arms were full of IVs. Both arms had IVs. My feet had IVs in them. Like, I was just hooked up to a bunch of freaking needles and tubes, bro. I didn't know what was going on. Keep in mind, I was blacking in and out. And so I blacked out, and then I woke up in the ambulance. I remember this shit. Like, I was in the back of the ambulance, right? Because I had to get taken to a children's hospital, and this bitch went to start. So I'm in the back of the ambulance hearing this motherfucker crank over. It's just like, I'm just like,
just your luck at this point.
Yeah, right? Ain't nobody back there with me. Like, hey, don't worry, buddy. It's like, I'm just sitting there like, what is going on? Like, I'm still trying to comprehend the whole situation. Finally, it started. I blacked out, woke up in the hospital. Same thing with tubes hooked up to me. And then my dad was there. My pops, shout out to my pops, Mark. He was there with my mom's. And that's when reality really hit in, because my sugar was so high for so long. My nerve endings deteriorated, like they burnt out.
Oh. Yeah.
So I couldn't walk. I couldn't even walk to the restroom. They had to help carry me and all that stuff. And then I was in that hospital for like forever. I think it was like 2 weeks.
Wow.
But finally, after like the first week, when my sugar started to come down, my legs started actually like kicking back to filling.
Mm.
And I had to learn how to walk around the hospital lobby with a freaking IV stick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just do laps and laps and laps, bro. And like that,
Mm.
I remember that shit was so hard because the only thing I wanted to see as a 12-year-old was my dog.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'd open the window and they brought my dog's socks out to the parking lot. And I was like, oh, like that makes me feel like I'm home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was when I got diagnosed. I set the record for highest sugar without going into a coma.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Over
and asking for food.
Yeah.
You know, I was hungry. I ain't gonna lie. I was starving, bro. Like,
God.
wild.
And I can only imagine. I think that this would be great to have like a 3-way podcast, you know, where we call in your mom and hear her side of things too, because it really is such a scary family event for your kid to be going through something like that. And I would love to hear how life had to change, because now, without her knowing, she has to become an expert at being a diabetic.
And that's the thing. Like, I just want to say shout out to any of the parents that have kids that are diabetics with any illness. You guys are amazing.
Soldiers.
Seriously, you guys are superheroes to us. Thank you guys so much. Mom, if you're watching, I love you so much. If you weren't here, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like, some real talk. And it's amazing what the parents are willing to do and what they have to do. You know what I mean? Everything changed. Everything changed. And I was so young, I didn't know what to do. So my mom took over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. So walk me through that a little bit, as far as like, now you got your legs back under you, you know, you're getting your feeling back. And I'm sure that you had multiple hospital visits after the fact, but what changed at home after that? I mean, your mom obviously had to dive headfirst into this new endeavor and how to take care of her son, who is a newfound type 1 diabetic, and being that she didn't have in her family, may not have been familiar with it. Like, how did things change around the house?
It was weird at first, you know. Like, I remember when we came home with a big ass, like a duffel bag of needles and Humalog and Lantus. Yeah, like, I still hate needles. My tattoos and stuff like that, those are different. But injections, like giving blood to this day, I want a Band-Aid after I get blood. Give me a balloon or something. You know what I mean? Right. So when we came home, it was just kind of like a big slap in the face. Like, hey, sorry, this is your life now.
Here you go. Figure it out.
Yeah, here's your that's stuff. How it is. Like, hey,
just hand you your stuff. Yeah, figure it out.
You've got a dead freaking organ. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is how, you know what I mean? So I still had to learn about diabetes.
Yeah.
I didn't know carb counting. I didn't know what a low sugar was.
Yeah.
I knew what a high sugar was because I almost fucking died. You know what I mean?
Lived it.
But it was just a big lifestyle change, bro. And same thing for my parents. Like, they had to switch everything up. They had to learn how to count carbs. They had to get one of those carb books and go through them bitches and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah, because we didn't really have access to things like we do now.
No, not back then. Hell no. This was in 2001. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you buying books and recipe books.
Yeah.
And like,
everything was old school, man. So, and then like the injections part, like my mom always used to give me my injections. She was a trooper. Shout out, Mom. You're amazing. But as I started getting older, obviously boys would go through puberty. You develop muscle. I started doing sports. I couldn't get shots in my arms no more because they were just muscle.
No fat.
Yeah. You ever get a shot in a straight muscle? It hurts like a bitch. It's like acid.
Yeah.
Like, real talk. No, for the people that don't know, it hurts really bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
The hardest part for me being a diabetic is not having enough fat.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. And I remember my mom gave me my last shot, bro. And I was like, I'm done. Like, it's stuck in my tricep, and it was just like, oh, I was like, yep.
You feel it burn it
I love you. I was like, yeah. But then I started doing injections myself.
Yeah.
And it was a huge lifestyle change, bro. I remember one of my closest best friends, call him White Boy Nick. I went back to his house after being gone for like 3 or 4 weeks. So I was almost dying.
Mm-hmm.
And he opened the door and he's like, what happened to you, bro? You're in the hospital? I was like, I got diabetes. Keep in mind, a lot of people don't think ill about my homeboy. He didn't know what it was.
Sure.
But he was like, I was like, nigga, what? I got the zombie virus?
Yeah.
I was still confused. I was like, is this contagious?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But obviously, if you don't know, I mean, you're going to be sketchy about it. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And that's another thing, too, which I think is super important to touch on is the simple fact that there's power in being diabetic. And I feel as though, you know, after I was diagnosed, it gave me an opportunity. Well, not even an opportunity. It forced me to look at every single thing that I put into my body and be in tune with how my body reacts to specific foods.
Yeah, that's real talk.
And I wish that more diabetics in the world weren't afraid to bust out their needles and their
pumps and all that
pumps
stuff.
and all that in public
Yeah.
and be transparent about it, because it's not something you have to hide. You can wear it with honor. And I really have type 1 diabetic on the back of my neck and on the side of my neck. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and just be like, that's really courageous of you to wear it like that. And it's, for me, I look at it as a superpower. Like, I get the opportunity to really be in tune with my body. Now, this superpower comes with a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's okay to wear whatever you have on your sleeve and be completely open about it to people, because I don't think the conversations like this would even happen if you weren't open about having, type 1 diabetes or whatever it may be. And like you said too, a lot that can be distasteful to some people, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to jump into that, and like social environments and things like that. So you're going through puberty, you start dating and stuff like, did you try and like repress and not tell people about it? Or was it ever something that you were ashamed of?
Definitely. When I was younger, I was really embarrassed of having a chronic illness.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take a shot in public. I would go hide in the corner and take a shot.
Yep.
I was so embarrassed of it. I wouldn't poke my finger in public. Like, I didn't want anyone to know I was different. You feel me? Keep in mind, we're teenagers, so we want to be like everybody else. But yeah, I was really low hush hush on my diabetes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, I started getting older, man. I was just like, you know what? This is my life. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, when I was in freaking starting a few semesters of college, and I'd go out with my boys, and they're like, bro, you're still hiding in the bathroom? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I honestly looked at it that way. I'm like, why? I'm like, I can look at somebody across the room like, hey, is your pancreas working? That's great, because this is my pancreas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, here, let me draw up a shot real quick.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, but I think all diabetics go. I think just anyone that's dealing with something like on our level of like a chronic illness or anything that you don't want other people to know about, because it's been so hard and such hard of a fight in your life. When you first start off, you might be just like, damn, like, they're gonna think I'm different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I held off on getting a pump and a CGM because I didn't want things on my body showing that I was different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I didn't get on a CGM till 2021.
And for the people that may not be diabetics, let's run them through what a pump is and a CGM and the difference between not having those and having those.
Oh God.
There's a
Lifesavers.
lot. Yeah, really. If you're not on a pump and you're diabetic,
Yeah.
please. And honestly, that's what I want to do with the show, is eventually get to the point where I can purchase those things for people, because they are absolute lifesavers, game changers
They
as
are.
diabetics.
They
And
really are.
And a lot of people don't either have health insurance, or they do have health insurance that doesn't cover those types of things. So if we can come together as people helping people, eventually I want this to turn into something where we are sponsoring families with insulin supplies, with good, nutritious food, which is so fucking important.
Yes.
But let's explain to the people the difference between going from insulin injections and pricking your finger to having a pump and a CGM.
Yeah. So the way I look at it is injections is more like old school, because we have the pumps now, and like he's saying, pricking your finger. So back in the day, I don't know when you started, did you prick your finger?
Oh,
And
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for like the first year and a half.
yeah. Well, so as diabetics, we have to check our blood sugars. We get a test kit, prick our finger, get blood, and we hook it up to a meter, right? It'll read our blood sugar and let us know where we're at. That was, like I said, the old school way. Me, myself now, you do too, right? You have a CGM?
I do.
So we both have CGMs. It's a continuous glucose monitor. That's what's on my arm right here.
Mine's on my butt cheek, or else I'd show you guys.
Yeah,
So.
we don't want to get flagged.
Yeah.
But the CGM is a continuous glucose monitor. It watches our blood sugars 24/7. If we start to have a low, gives us a warning. If we're starting to have a high, it gives us a warning. So it's a huge lifesaver. It was for me, because I had a sugar so low that I dropped down to 16. This is when I had my own place, and I would always keep orange juice next to me, right? So my sugar was so low, and I was so disoriented that I got up, walked across my room, and fell. And I remember waking up. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, bro. I'm like, damn, where's my damn orange juice?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you walk past it. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me right now. So
You're so disoriented.
yeah. So I got up, I tried grabbing my juice, and my legs buckled, and I fell back. And when I fell back, I hyperextended my left elbow to the point where it broke off and made bone spurs in there.
Oh,
yeah, like bad, dude.
Oh,
right. So CGMs are really great because they will yell at you literally if you're going low or going high. Like yours went off in your last podcast.
Yeah, I
heard it and I was like, hey, juice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, in the midst of a podcast that I was having, and this is what's interesting about that. Those CGMs, they're connected to your phones, which is great. They just go, it's just like a little sticker, a little puck. And it has a needle that goes into your skin and gives you a continuous glucose monitor. And basically I'm sitting there having a conversation just like you and I are now. And I'm learning with my audience. Like they're watching me learn how to do this stuff live, right? Yeah. And once we're live, it's on. And I
have no going back.
Yeah, exactly. We are on. So I'm sitting there and I'm having a great conversation with my buddy Ari about his mechanic shop here in town. Shout out Ari. Shout out to his shop as well. And as I'm talking, I'm realizing that I'm not landing any planes with any points that I'm making. I'm like just carrying sentences forever. Yeah. And they're just like going on. And I'm not saying a damn thing. And you watch the video back and the beat's starting to sweat on my head.
Cold sweat.
Yep. And then all of a sudden the alarms start going off because it was like a drastic drop.
What'd you hit?
Probably like 45.
Which is basically death for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Horrible feeling.
It's really, really bad.
Horrible feeling.
And so I eventually just had to acknowledge it because we're live. So I look up at the camera and I'm like, people, I'm sorry. I'm a human being. I'm having a hypoglycemic attack right now. And I asked him an open-ended question real quick. I looked over and I was like, yeah, so you could just walk me through that while I go get some honey and throw it in my coffee.
Yeah.
And
try to save my life.
Yeah, I got to save my life right now, live on stream.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you don't bounce back from that quickly. And that's what people don't understand is like, not only did I go 30 minutes without remembering any of our conversation, when I watched it back, I didn't remember any of the show.
And that's a real thing too. Like, and that's one of the biggest things I will touch on with HA because he knows when we have low blood sugars, we can do stuff for an hour or so running low, excuse me, and we will not know what's going on. By all means. I mean, I've had times where I was at work and, you know, I'm doing something. They're like, hey, can you help me out and grab this? I'm like, yeah, sure, bet I got you. I'll go up there to the truck and just be like, what?
Yeah. Why am I here right now? Like, what is going on? What did he ask me to do?
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely not fun. And like he said, we don't really bounce back. I mean, you might see us get juice and we'll chug it right away. Sugar might come up, but the effects of having a sugar, damn, for us, it's like below. When I get to 70, I start feeling a little skittish. You know what I mean? So when we get down to the 40s and 30s, that is literally like death for us because we can go comatose. We can faint. We can black out. Like me, I fell and I didn't even realize that I basically broke my elbow. I mean, things can go really, really bad.
Really quickly.
Yeah. Super fast.
And it's in anybody out there that is a type 1 diabetic, you know, though, like I feel for you wholeheartedly. And that's why I think that these conversations are really important. And if you see somebody that is a diabetic, try and make a friend. Like
please.
The fact that you came up to me and just said, what up? Are you a diabetic?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yeah.
Like
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to like meet you and just be a part of anybody's life that was a diabetic because it's a misunderstood disease. People don't, and I hate saying the word disease. I almost want to call it a misunderstood superpower. Yeah. You know, but it's something that not a lot of people know or understand about. So to bring light to what it is and to have conversations with people that also have it and being like, man, I'm not alone.
Exactly.
It's really important.
Yeah,
and
big thing for sure, man.
Yeah. And I just want to say too, like,
you're touching on lows and being at work or somebody asking you to do something. Like I was working in the oil field. And we were working 16 to 20 hour days, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I'm running a crew who's we built the pipe bombs. We built the explosives that went 5 miles deep into the ground. I was a crane operator. I had 3 guys underneath me, and we were the Marines of the oil field.
Yeah.
And the only reason I was able to do that is because I went and got stem cells in Mexico. Because like you, I was in KDA, ketoacidosis, and lost all this weight and had this big, coming back to being a human being again and learning late in life of how to be a diabetic. I also have Crohn's disease, which diagnosed both those. But all this to say that there would be times where I'm sitting in a crane with a, 80,000 pound load with my guys underneath it, swinging a load and just being like, beep, beep, beep. And my alarm's going off. And I'm like, their lives are in danger. My life's in danger.
Yeah.
Like it gets really real, really fucking fast.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know, like, if people who are around you are diabetics and they need to take a moment, just understand that if they do have a low, it does take a little while to bounce back, and maybe their energy levels may not be the same after that. And, if you're with a diabetic and you guys are going to do things that may be off grid or something physical, if you can, remind them to grab some juice.
Yeah.
Because
grab a granola bar, get a banana.
Yeah. And it's so tough too, to remember, even me after a few years, like I find myself out, just like earlier today, I found myself out and about driving down the road, and all of a sudden beep, beep, beep. And I'm like, oh shit. I didn't bring anything.
Exactly. And you're like, damn, I got to stop and save myself.
Yeah. So what do you carry on you? Do you carry stuff on you, or
mostly juice?
Yeah.
I always make sure I have juice with me. It doesn't matter where I go. Today I didn't, because I was just trying to get over here, and I started getting into like the 90s. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get some chili mango. Remember I told you, I was like, I'm gonna get some chili mango and some juice. Popped those in my mouth. Sugar came back up, went a little elevated, but didn't go high. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a real thing, man.
Yeah. For sure.
It's a real thing.
For sure. And so you went through college, and some of your college friends basically said, hey man, like, don't sweat it. Like, that's who you are. Or
yeah, it was my boys, my best friends growing up with back in the hood and stuff like that. They all seen me from when I was 12 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All through high school and all that stuff. So
like, you don't have to hide this anymore.
Yeah, man. And like, it's hard, especially if you have, like, when you're that young, you got like an ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want nobody to think you're different, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or weak.
Yeah.
Because it feels weak at times.
Exactly. And you know how
it's hard.
That is rough, especially for a man. And I just want to say, to anyone who's a diabetic, do not feel that way at all.
Yes.
Please, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is really okay to let people know. Because if something happens, God forbid it does, at least they know you're a diabetic. Yeah. By all means. I mean, they have those necklaces. They've got wristbands. This is my controller for my my Omnipod. It says it right there. That's my controller for my insulin pump. So, but don't be afraid to let people know.
Yeah.
The more that people know, the more they can help.
Absolutely.
What I mean?
Well said, man. I'm glad we touched on that, because I feel like as a man, there is a sense of weakness when I do have lows, and I'm getting through that still. Mm-hmm. Even in social situations when you do have to pull back, and people are having fun or whatever, and you got to sit in the corner and drink your juice for a minute.
Yeah, you got to survive.
Chill. Yeah, like
you got to survive.
You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be okay. And like you said, it's all right to be hey, I'm a diabetic. I'm going to go chill for a second. No, put it on the forefront.
Exactly.
Let people know.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take me maybe 15, 20 minutes to start feeling okay before I can come back.
Yeah.
And just be vocal about it.
Because it's like, if we hide it, then no one's going to be able to help us.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, oh, dang, he's over there laying down. He must be tired. No.
Yeah.
He's at low blood sugar.
Yeah.
Go pour some sugar in his mouth.
I'm having cold sweats over here. Like,
yeah. That's the real talk, though. I mean,
let's go to some questions. We got a bunch of people in. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the show tonight. Really appreciate you. We're talking with a fellow brother of the show and of myself, David Castillo here. He's a type 1 diabetic as well. And we're just talking about being diabetics for one, and then hopefully sharing some wisdom to the people about the disease itself, and then how to go about navigating it, because you have a lot more experience than I do. So I'm taking some wisdom from you, right? And I hope anybody out there is getting some nuggets from this. But we do have some questions. Cybersecurity Sensei, do glucose tablets help with T1D during hypoglycemic episodes? We keep them in our glove box in case my wife's sugar drops unexpectedly. She's not diabetic, but her sugar falls at times. So I've never taken those.
I used to take them when I was younger. So I will say, yes, they can help.
Great question.
As long as she's able to, pop them in her mouth. Sometimes, God forbid, a sugar drops so low, she can't open her mouth. Now, when I was talking earlier, when I had to get IV hooked up to my arm, my lady couldn't get no juice in my mouth. I wasn't seized up, wasn't having a seizure, but we can't comprehend what's going on if we have a really low blood sugar. But if it's at the point where she knows what's going on, what's going on, glucose tablets definitely help. Yes, they do.
Great.
By all means.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for being a part of the chat. Thank you, everybody that's joining the chat right now. We've got Oren, Kin CT. Yes, we can see you. Hello, welcome in. Let's see. Cybersecurity, we know you're out there. We see you. We appreciate you jumping in. Tony Swerple, we see you out there. Ann Cloutier sends us a super sticker, sends us $2. That, you know what? Thank you so much. I think that's the first that we've ever got. Really appreciate that. Salute to you. And thank you for being a supporter of the show, People Helping People. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run over to a quick advertisement. We do have some sponsors of the show, so we're going to go ahead and run our advertisement for the sponsor of the show for the first time. So we'll see how this works out, and we will come right back. This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. T-Town Boxing isn't just a gym, it's a community where you can build confidence, discipline, and lifelong skills. Whether you're stepping into the ring for the first time or sharpening your technique, from kids This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. T-Town Boxing isn't just a gym, it's a community where you can build confidence, discipline, lifelong skills, whether you're stepping into the ring for the first time or sharpening your techniques. From kids to adults, beginners to experienced fighters, T-Town Boxing offers a space to grow, train, and challenge yourself. So, if you're ready to push your limits and join an amazing community, reach out to T-Town Boxing on Instagram at instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Again, instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Back to the show. All right. Thank you, T-Town Boxing, for sponsoring the show. And I realized that we just ran the ad where I screwed it up. So that's great. You guys get to see a little behind the scenes.
Hey, things happen.
Things
happen.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. We're learning. We're having fun. A few things before we dive into this next segment, brother. If you guys know anybody that wants to be on the show, whether you be a business owner, you be a musician, you be an artist, you can reach out to us. This banner at the bottom here, you can either reach out to me on Instagram at People Helping People Live or at The Real Alexander J. Either one of those. If you know somebody or you are somebody who wants to be on the show, let me know and we'll get you on and make sure you be a good fit. And we'll get a nice interview and get you some good content. But yeah, welcome back, everyone. We are still sitting here with David Castillo, and we're going to dive into some of the uglier sides and harder things of being a type 1 diabetic. And, you know, I think, like I said, I like to look at this as like a superpower, but there's also things that are very tough for us as diabetics in navigating life to put on the forefront and be open about. And I kind of wanted to ask you about some of those things. And
yeah,
when it comes to things like relationships and dating and things like that, is there like a certain time frame that you wait to talk about that? Is that right on the forefront?
I mean, so my girlfriend in college at the time, she knew I was a diabetic right off the bat because I wasn't really hiding it anymore. But she got to see, the ups and downs. Obviously, I had a really low blood sugar, I believe, of like 15. Excuse me, and I woke up paralyzed just from my neck down. I couldn't move,
Whoa.
and all I could do was like yell in her ear like we were asleep. I'm like, I can't freaking move.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, grab the juice. I was like, I can't move. Like, literally, I need your help. So she had to pour juice in my mouth. And then finally, like 4 hours later, everything came back. And I had a lot of episodes where I was up in my sugars. I was throwing up. I couldn't see straight, like stuff like that. Like I said, there's a lot of ups and downs. And she straight up told me, like, I can't do this because it's so hard to watch you like die almost every time.
Yeah.
And so that was a big mishap in a relationship. It was when I was younger.
Sure.
When you're young, you don't really care.
Yeah.
But I was straightforward right off the bat. My lady now, my Sonny, she knew I was a diabetic right off the bat.
Yeah.
She was there when I had a super low blood sugar. She's seen me through highs. There's been times where me and the kids were coming home to like get snacks and go back to the pool, and I dropped like 40. I'm like, I gotta eat an orange and lay down.
Yeah.
Before I lose everything.
Yeah.
And so she gets it. She's a really big supportive. Shout out to Sonia. I love you, babe.
Shout out.
But I think as we get older, we have to be honest with our partner right off the bat, especially having this illness we do. And if you find that ride or die that's willing to sit there and help you through, everything, ups and downs, and save your life, like she saved my life, it's a big thing, man. It's a really big thing. And those women or men, if you're female diabetics, whatever the case may be, are hard to find. They are hard to find. But when they're there, bro, I mean, it's a life changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And shout out to Sonia. And my girl is the same thing. When we had met, I'd only been a diabetic for, 10 months. And I was also diagnosed with Crohn's on the same day that I was diagnosed with diabetes. And it really took its toll. I mean, I was bleeding out of every orifice in my body. And, I was in a state of KDA. My story was real similar to yours, right? And I think that that's very common. Is I had to pee all day long. I was falling asleep behind the wheel. People at a red light would be honking at me. I'd be waking up and I just couldn't eat enough sugar.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, gosh, man, maybe I need an energy drink. Like I'm falling asleep all the time. And long story short, I get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and they did so many tests on me before they found out that I had Crohn's disease as well. Yeah. And everything good for Crohn's is bad for type 1 diabetes and vice versa. So I was at this crazy conflict of how to figure out my diet, my lifestyle.
Yeah. Just fighting yourself.
Yeah, really. And all the literature that I had on Crohn's was like, eat carbs and do this and that. And everything on diabetes is like, don't manage your carbs. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm screwed,
Yeah.
And, but I ended up meeting my girl, September 10th of 2019. And we had hit it off, and she just took care of me, man.
Yeah.
Like that support was crazy. Like you said, I don't think I would be here without her.
Yeah,
because
it was a real thing.
Yeah, there was times in the middle of the night, where you wake up and your alarms are going off and you're shaking and you don't know if you can get up and stumble down into the kitchen and grab some juice or whatever it is. And I just be like, babe, I can barely talk. Like I help. Like,
juice.
Yeah, juice me.
Yeah, juice me.
So yeah, and then in a serendipitous way, 6 years later, we meet back up, and she's still that lovely, caring person, and has just been taking such good care of me. So shout out to you, Kayla. I love you. And I wouldn't be here without you, from the beginning to now. And she's been an amazing support system through and through. And that support system is so important for the diabetics, because sometimes we can't do it by ourselves, man.
That is a really, really good way to say it, man. I mean, I tried it for a while and I was living by myself, and obviously I failed. I mean, I've called my mom because I couldn't move, and I had to like crawl with one arm that would work to juice. You know what I mean? Had that situation where I basically broke the elbow. So it's the partners definitely help.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to anybody out there that's taking care of somebody that is going through these types of things. We love you guys, and it really takes a village. It takes a family to come together, and you do have to have support. And if you don't have support, reach out to somebody and try and get some. And honestly, if you're a diabetic and you need somebody to talk to, like, we are here. I know that he needs some diabuddies. I need diabuddies. And you see something?
Hey,
Go
shout
ahead.
out to my brother Tony Swerpo.
Tony
Bugs,
Swerpo.
that's my brother.
There he is.
I
love
love
you,
Hey,
Dave.
without Alex, I love you, bro. He was there. I had a seizure, and he caught me. I was on the couch. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No. This is what it's all about. This is live.
But glad to see you guys are joining in. Big shout out to you guys. I love you. All my heart. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank y'all for joining us. This is great. And cool. We got Bugs 420 OZ2.
Yeah, that's my
Let's
brother
see.
Alex.
Nice. Love you, Dave. It's great. He says, love you, Dave. It's great. You're sharing your story and helping others out. Good work. Man, we really do appreciate you guys coming. I'm going to give you guys a round of applause for being here. For real. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, man. Again, I just want to say thank you for coming through. And, as we continue to move forward and grow older and wiser through our, experiences and, was it nerve-wracking being a type 1 diabetic, having this coming of age into manhood, in your 30s and thinking about having a family because now you got a beautiful daughter. And was that something that was daunting?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. So at first I didn't want to have kids. It was for that reason, man. I was really, really against it.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Shout out to anyone that's dealing with it.
Yeah.
You guys can do it. It is possible. I have 2 beautiful children right now.
Mm.
I had my daughter Marley Castillo in February 16th, my mom's birthday. Shout out to you, Mom.
Hey,
Same birthday my mom's.
I love that.
Yeah, she was born in 2023. Everything was great. Everything was Gucci, man. And then last year, July 5th, we went to a 4th of July celebration, and she was just not herself. And I could tell something was wrong. Something was wrong. She wasn't talking. She could barely walk. Her eyes were all sunk in, super thirsty. Me and my lady took her to the emergency room like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they do the same shit, excuse my language, but they're like, no fever, blood pressure's fine. Whoop de whoop. I'm like, no, check her sugar. She's a baby. I'm like, no, check her fucking sugar. I'm a diabetic. Like, I'm not gonna tell you again. So they checked it, and Marley's sugar was at 485.
Oh.
Yeah, and like in the moment, like I lost it. I want to say shout out to Sonia again, babe. I love you, because she was pregnant with our baby boy, and I lost my shit. I've never yelled and cried so hard in my freaking life. Just finding out the one most innocent thing in my life just became what I was, and it hurt so bad, bro, because you know how it feels when you have like really highs and when you have lows. And I knew what was wrong with my baby, and no one wanted to listen to me, and it pissed me off. And so we had to sit in the hospital for about like a week with her, man, hooked up to IVs, and I couldn't sleep. And it was so haunting. But I went outside and I called my mom's, my brother, Alex. I'm pretty sure I called you. Just like crying my eyes out, man. Like I still cry about it today, because it just is the most touchy subject. When you find out your child has the same disease as you, and it broke me. Like I've never had my soul broken so hard. But Marley's great. She's doing amazing. Actually, July 5th will be her 1-year anniversary as being a diabetic. She's the reason why I got on the Omnipod, the insulin pump, because I didn't want her growing up thinking she was different. I put on her pump. I put on her meter. She's like, pump. I'm like, where's daddy's pump? She's like, daddy's pump, Marley's pump. So like, yeah, things like that. They make up for it, man. But
Yeah.
it is possible. And you guys, if anyone has like illness or anything, don't be afraid. It's things might happen, things may not happen. Wherever it is, you're a blessing, your child's a blessing, and don't be afraid. You got to be strong for your kid, and that's just what it has to be.
Yeah. Man.
So.
Yeah, that's really something that I'm going to take with me is just not to be afraid, because I feel like, you know, I felt the same.
Yeah.
I'm mid-30s now, and you know that time is coming when I start thinking about things like that. And I've always thought, you know, same as you, how could I have a kid? How could I do that? And I think the reality of the situation is, you know, like your daughter being diagnosed at a young age, and then having somebody who is so experienced to guide her,
Yeah.
to help her along the way. And with technology the way it is now, where things can almost be on cruise control.
Yeah.
Yes, you still have to be present. Yes, you still have to be considerate of what you put into your body, and be a little bit more mindful than the average. But for her to have somebody like you,
Yeah, man. I'm grateful. I am super grateful, and everybody keeps telling me that, you know, she's super lucky, and I thank God every day that, you know, I'm able to be there to help her.
yeah,
Because I know when she starts acting a certain way, what's going on. You know, I can go to her doctors and be like, you know, I think her insulin sensitivity is kicking up at a certain time. It's dropping at a certain time. You know, as diabetics, we know things that doctors know, but not by books, by living it. And so I'm grateful for that, because I can do it with my daughter. You know, it's a real helpful tool. It really is.
yeah,
So
yeah. And how are things changing as far as like at the house since she's been diagnosed? Like I mean, obviously a lot, right? But is there a big shift in diet, or is that tough because of her age? You know, that's toddler age. Like,
oh man, she eats whatever she wants.
right?
Yeah. She'd be in the pantry over there grabbing chips. I'm like, let me count your carbs. She's like, no, and just take off running. I'm like, Marley. Yeah. So it's kind of it's a pain in the ass. Hey, Cassie, love you. My sister right there, Cassie.
Nice. Hey, Cassie, we see you out there. Thanks for joining us.
So yeah, it's a pain. It's a pain, you know, especially being a toddler. They want to do whatever the hell they want. They want to eat whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
She talks a bunch, so she'll let you know, like, I want a popsicle. I'm like, no, you just had two. And she'll get pissed. Like, so I'm like, God damn, girl. So
yeah,
it's a big change. The other siblings know not to just let her eat whatever she wants.
Right. Not
to let her grab a thing of orange juice and start chugging it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it was a big lifestyle change. Thankfully, you know, I lived through it for 23 years, so I have the experience to help coach the rest of my little family to figure it out. And her mom, Sonia's amazing. She does great when I'm gone. I worked 94 hours last week, so I mean, I didn't get to see my family the whole week, you know, and I know Sonia's there to take care of it. And, you know, my parents, her mom, her Marley's older siblings. So
nice.
Yeah, man.
She's got an amazing support system.
Yeah.
And again, you know, it's got to be one of the scariest things to hear that. I mean, that I cannot fathom being in those shoes. But on the flip side of that coin, you know, there's support through and through. And being diagnosed at a young age, it's so tough to say that that's a beautiful thing, but it's, you know, I'm trying to look at the positive side of things. Like,
yeah, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she'll eat healthy. I mean, she'll always be in great shape. So
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
everything else, like you said, with technology nowadays, bro, we basically have a bionic pancreas.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know,
gosh, yeah, and I can't wait to go experiment with something like stem cells. And well, I mean, I've done stem cells before, but they have them specifically to regenerate the cells in your pancreas and have that. But, you know, hopefully down the road, there's some breakthrough technologies that help. So is she currently on, she's got the Omnipod as well?
Yeah, she literally has the same thing I do. The controller, she has her own phone for her Dexcom.
Yeah.
So I can see what her sugar's at right now. I mean, she literally has the same setup as me.
Yeah.
So,
can you dose her remotely?
No. So how the controller works with her Omnipod, she's got to be within 20 feet.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, whoever's with her has the controller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see like, hey, Marley's sugar's going up, you know, can you dose her or something like that?
Yeah.
But thankfully her mom, Sonia, love you, is on top of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be a huge blessing if I could dose her from like a, you know, I'm out of town working, but
yeah,
hopefully in the future technology will get that good. But
yeah. Well, man, I want to thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you.
Course.
I don't know if there's anything else that you want to touch on while we're here.
I don't know. I just want to say there's any diabetics watching or anyone with a chronic illness or anything you're struggling with, I mean, don't be afraid to reach out. You know, you're a human. We're all human, and don't be afraid. There's nothing wrong with it. Asking for help, letting people know. You know what I mean? It's completely fine. It's completely fine. And if there is anyone watching that's a type 1, you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
Any chronic illness or anything, you're doing amazing in life. And for everyone else is just watching, you guys are also amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, brother. And thank you all for tuning in. Everybody that's tuned into this episode of People Helping People, I hope that you got some wisdom, and you have an amazing story, man. And
Thanks, bro.
I would love to have you back on the show anytime.
Yeah.
You're a family of me. You're a family of People Helping People.
Yeah.
And you're really out here doing God's work. You know, I mean, it's really tough for us to go through life and you know, reach out to people and have you know, good connections with people that you may or may not know. And I think that this show has really brought a lot of that into my life. And to be able to have people like yourself sit down and talk about their experiences in life and give a little wisdom and a little bit of love to the people that are out there watching. So again, I appreciate you, man. And we're going to go ahead and end the live stream. We are at an hour. That flew by.
It did.
That flew by.
Especially when you touch on something that's like personal in your life.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like, damn, you get so much into it. You look at the time, like, damn,
Yeah.
we're talking a lot about ourselves.
Yeah, we did an hour. Thank you all for tuning in. Ben K, we see you out there. Amanda Cardenas, we see you out there.
Hey, Kim. Thanks, Mama. I see you. Thanks for joining.
Kim, we see you out there.
My boy Tony's wife.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to go ahead and kick off the theme music and let y'all go. Thanks for tuning into the second of 30 days of 30 live streams. This is day number 2. And we look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Everybody, take care.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my gosh, it's people helping people!
There. All right. We are live on the main page right now. Let me go ahead and dive over to Instagram and make sure we're live over there as well before we get the show started. I hope everybody is having a beautiful day. And I did get a notification via Instagram that there may be issues with their live support. So we may or may not. Oh, you know what? It's working. Look at that. Nice. All right. We are officially live on Instagram, and we are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. Holy smokes. We are live all over the board. This is a beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another amazing episode of People Helping People. And I am really, really excited to announce that not only do we have a new intro song, which we played the last episode, but we've got a new intro aesthetic, and it's really fun. Big shout out to my little sis, Victoria. I love you. She put this together for us. And let's go ahead and get it fired up here. Give me just a sec. All right. Here's the new intro. Let's go.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my gosh, it's people helping people!
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really fun to make. We're getting so many copyright claims from this little soundboard that I have over here. And even using the clap track. So we're going to make our own applause track too. But we had a blast putting that together. And I just want to take a moment to thank everybody that's been tuning into the show. You know, the support has been snowballing, everybody reaching out, either wanting to be involved or, you know, wants to support in one way or another. And I find myself coming up short on how people can support. How do you guys want to support the show? What would be best? Should we put out some merchandise? You know, I'd like some ideas. So I'm kind of opening this up to the audience and know how you'd like to support people helping people. But for right now, the best thing that I can ask is that you go to the Instagram page, Instagram.com/people helping people live, or YouTube, YouTube.com/@people helping people live. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to monetize over there. Go ahead and follow the Instagram. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for the amount of support and love that we've had. And we are on day 3. We're doing a 30 by 30. We are in day 3, 30 days of 30 live shows. We have incredible guests lined up for you guys. Tons of wisdom, business owners, artists, musicians, and we're going to showcase anything and everything to make sure that you guys are getting some value out of this show. So I'm really excited to be doing that. But first, let's have a nice sip of Joe. Delicious. That one was for you, Pops. He used to run a radio show, and he'd do that every morning. I remember listening to his radio show, and he'd have his morning sip of coffee. So without further ado, tonight we have an amazing guest with us. He is a man that wears many hats, and he's seen a lot of life. He's the guy that's got a story for everything. He can relate to everyone. He's so well spoken and well read, and just somebody that you want to aspire to be like. And I am no different. And I am really excited to welcome back to the show. He has become a people helping people regular because of the love and passion and wisdom that he shares with our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Vanderveer. There he is. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for the applause. Yeah, thank you, Alex, and thank you for the applause and the introduction. And speaking of eloquence, my friend, you are a bar to reach. I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Your experiences, your skills that you've taught yourself. I mean, taught yourself how many instruments?
Quite a few, yeah.
I don't know, piano, guitar. I mean, it goes on and on and on, right?
Yeah.
But we got a little timeout circle there, buddy.
Yeah. So I think, are you on the
Sure.
Wi-Fi network there at home?
Let's see if. Oh, pop back on. Okay, you had a little.
Yeah. I think
buzzer,
the
so-
connection. Jeff, can you hear me?
Yes.
There's definitely a connection issue. So I think that maybe if we can ensure that you're on Wi-Fi at the house. Do you know if you're on Wi-Fi currently?
Oh, that is a good question. I'm going
Okay.
to my screen up here for a second,
Okay.
and
We can go ahead and take a moment. I'll give you a second to breathe here and get through that. And I'm just going to talk to the audience for a moment. You can shoot me a text and let me know when you're ready, and then we can pop you back in. Yeah, just make sure you're on the home Wi-Fi there. All right, a little bit of technical difficulties. You know, I had my ma on the show a couple of days ago, and she is such an inspiring, incredible person. She took this, she's done so many things, but recently she took this idea that she had. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Metropolis. Go listen to the show, because she breaks down how she had an idea to take a movie that originally was written and filmed in the 1920s and then remade in the 80s, and she made it a live theater play. really incredible story, the trials and tribulations and everything that she had to go through in order to make this show work. And so it was an incredible, inspiring story. And, I just, oh, maybe we got it. Hold on. Hold on. Again, we are live. So let's see if we get him back on here now that he's on Wi-Fi. Let's hope. Fingers crossed. Hey, you are looking crispy clear. Welcome back to the show.
You want a fan on you or anything?
Can you hear me?
Thanks.
Can you hear me, Uncle Jeff? Can you hear me? Hello.
I'm still spinning.
Okay. All right. Let me mute this real quick while he figures it out. So again, some technical difficulties, but that's totally okay. Let me see if we can get him on the line. Jeff, are you here?
I'm here.
All right. Yeah, you're looking crispy too.
Leave it to me. I have technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let me get my flip phone here, and I'll try to dial that up.
Oh, that's okay. And you're in a familiar location.
Oh yes, very familiar.
Yeah. That's my parents' home in Oregon, and Jeff is visiting my family right now, and that couch has seen many a butts over the years.
Yeah, they wrote a song about it.
Right. Well, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Not only just popped up on a whim, and I really appreciate you. I sent out the text, you put on your cape, and here you are. I really appreciate you for that. But
my friend.
yeah, and every time that you come on the show, you bring light to things that I think a lot of people have going on in their lives, good, bad, and indifferent. And you shed such a different perspective on these types of situations that, again, maybe people are struggling with. And I kind of gave you the reins. I contacted you. I put up the bat signal, and I said, just come give me a topic. Let's talk to the people. Let's bring them a little bit of love and some wisdom and knowledge from the man himself, who has seen so much and done so much. So I'm going to give you the floor. First of all, for people that don't know you, introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into our topic.
Hi guys, I'm Jeffrey Vandeveer, and I am Alexander's uncle.
The best.
And I'm extremely proud of that. I'm not so sure where he stands with that, but that's a
mutual
appreciation. Yeah. But my perspective might be a little different than others because it's about 75 years old. So
yes,
I've had some time to develop it and edit it, reestablish it, flip the page a few times. And most of what I've learned through mistakes. We fail our way to the top. And if you're not doing that, then you're just not opening enough doors and trying on enough hats and taking enough chances and ponying up the courage to go about stretching yourself. And when you stretch yourself, you're gonna fail, and that's okay. Nobody succeeded at anything great immediately out of the gates. It just doesn't happen. So look at failing as just a building block toward your goal. And my goal for the last couple of decades has really been based on self-improvement. And there's a lot of room for me there, so it's a nice field to play in.
We're all in the same boat, don't you worry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so what I ran into along the way was another bit of a download about ego itself. And ego is a very powerful motivator. It's also very sophomoric and childish. I think I was smarter somehow when I was young, had a clearer mind or whatever, but sometime during high school, maybe early college, this thought came to mind that it's an analogy. Ego is like a balloon. The bigger it gets, the thinner the skin. And if you've noticed, people with gigantic egos, they are easily offended, aren't they? You come against them with something contrary to their belief, their preconceived ideas, their disempowering beliefs, and boy, they're easily offended. That balloon is going to burst quickly. On the other hand, if they are self-assured, confident, have a good self-image, they're anxious to hear another position, another concept, idea, because they have learned that on the threshold of wisdom, they have exchanged ego for curiosity. Because at some point we realize that we really don't know much about anything.
Truly.
And we certainly don't know everything about anything. Even the foremost expert on the planet on a particular subject has more questions about it.
Yeah.
And as long as you keep questioning, you won't let that ego get in the way. Now let's talk about personalities and egos. How many of us really enjoy being around somebody with a giant ego that just wants to talk about themselves, and they're narcissistic and they won't listen to any other opinion and they interrupt and all that? Anybody? Show of hands.
Yeah.
You like that?
Crickets.
You like that kind of person? Yeah.
Right.
Crickets. So when we are people helping people, we pass on that concept that when you are secure, when you're comfortable in your own skin, you don't have to be heard. You don't need the accolades. You don't need the attaboys. Yes, indeed, those things are nice. They're lovely. We enjoy them, but we don't need them. Or have to have that to survive or to support whatever opinions we have about a particular subject. We want instead to be properly informed, completely informed, much like a good inspector or a detective. They want all of the facts so they can make a wise decision. So the greater number of facts, the greater information we can gather, the larger our wisdom gets within that as we remain curious. And when we explode that ego, the horizon just broadens. Now, you're going to say, okay, well, how in the world do I go about doing that? Well, this is where the rubber meets the road right here. I'm going to give you some how-tos. I never do any of this without some tools. So if you're taking notes, which I hope you are, first of all, I want you to write down that the threshold of wisdom is where we replace ego with curiosity. Okay, now let's get curious, shall we? For instance, the best way to get curious is to ask yourself provocative questions. And you do it internally. Or you can actually say it out loud if you're by yourself and trying to figure stuff out. You say, for instance, how can I be even better at sales? How can I be even better at promoting myself? How can I be even better at understanding and appreciating? How can I be even better? Who do I know who can help me along that journey? Now, the even better, I'm going to emphasize that because that implies that you're already doing it. Okay, how can I be even better at subduing my ego and improving my curiosity? And when you ask yourself that question, your subconscious mind goes on the quest to answer it. Okay, does that make sense? The subconscious mind is like a computer, as we talked about on a previous podcast. It's going to go on the quest to answer that question. How can I even better improve my curiosity while diminishing my ego?
Hmm.
Well, formulate more questions that you can ask of people. Literally sit down and write questions out to which you would like the answer and ask someone.
Now,
Or-
how would somebody define or see an ego within themselves about a specific topic?
When you find yourself defending a position about which you know very little, or perhaps you know a great deal about, but there are still a lot more questions. When you're defending your position, you are like a child saying, no, 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 I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't want that broccoli, you know. And because you've made a decision that that's going to be better for you, whatever. It's childish. It's just irresponsible. So, yes, how you go about doing that, that's the question.
Yeah. So if somebody was to identify within themselves that maybe it is ego versus confidence or knowledge that's getting in the way of them being curious, how to identify and differentiate between those things and say, you know what, this is the ego speaking. Let me ask some more questions in order to mitigate that.
Beautifully asked. Yes. When you find yourself thinking over the other narrative,
Mm.
you're in your ego. Because you're doing one of two things. Yeah. Because you are always doing one of two things. It's very simple. You're thinking about how you're going to respond, which is a very subjective and primitive way of thinking. You're thinking about how you're going to prove the other guy wrong and yourself right.
Mm.
And you're looking for things that support your own predisposed position regarding it.
Yes.
So you're thinking about that instead of putting up a white sheet of paper in your mind. Just blank it out like you're meditating. Just go to your breath and listen. One thing that I do when I'm with someone is I look into their eyes for my own reflection.
Ooh.
Concentrate on that and concentrate on the audio. And when my mind starts to wander, I say, okay, shut up. I appreciate the thought, but just take a back seat.
Acknowledge
Hold
it,
on a minute.
but chill.
Yeah. Acknowledge it, dismiss it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first and easiest ways to know that you're in your ego, because ego is self. It's your concept of self.
Hmm.
And the other thing is when someone comes with a concept or idea that is opposed to yours, instead of arguing it or trying to prove them wrong or trying to support your own position on it, that's interesting. I've never looked at it that way. I'm curious. How so? Ask a question.
Yeah, I was going to ask too. That makes me think. Like, do you have how so is a great question. Why is a great question. But do you have a few questions that are go-tos for you to open up something that may help to suppress the ego and expand your mind more?
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about questions I would ask myself or another.
Yeah, say in conversation when you're, because starting people, helping people, I'm sitting down with individuals and we're having conversations and I'm doing my best to listen to little nuggets where I can bring that back and wrap it. I mean, it's really an art form to have an open conversation and really open somebody up to where you're figuring out the purpose and the reasons and the whys. But I don't know if there's something in conversation that, you can ask someone that immediately helps diminish the ego and opens up the realm of being able to learn and grasp new thoughts and new knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. The very first thing that we want to do, again, when we replace ego with curiosity, we replace the word no with the word yes.
Hmm.
Even when the person is totally disagreeing with you and you totally disagree and you're going to inject something that is contrary to what they've said, you say, yes, exactly.
Hmm.
Now you've got their attention because you've agreed with them, and you can say anything you want because they now begin to listen to your support of their position.
Hmm. Though it might be contrary to what they're saying.
Precisely. And when they are open to listening and they hear something contrary, they already have this preconceived idea that you are supporting their position, and their subconscious says, that's true.
Hmm.
So you do that with yourself as well. You say, okay, what I'm hearing is contrary to that which I have believed in the past or thought or decided. Therefore, I will listen even more closely.
Hmm.
And when you, again, to answer your question about the questions you ask, read between the lines, listen so closely that you don't necessarily hear the words. It's like listening to a record on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's the innuendo between the notes, the silent parts, the body language. When you're truly listening, you're watching the body language. You're looking into their eyes. You see that glimmer. You see a little twitch of a smile, or you see a little touch of anger. And you say, I'm thinking that you are contemplating something beyond that which you're saying. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. Interesting.
I asked a waitress one time. She was obviously, excuse me, super bright, fairly bubbly when she'd go to the table, but then her countenance would turn. And I could see her thinking deeply about something. And she came to the table and I said, I can't help noticing what a deep and thoughtful person you are. There is much more to you than most people would recognize.
Wow.
You are a very powerful and deep thinking and feeling person. And I just wanted to acknowledge that with you and let you know that somebody recognizes that.
Wow. What a compliment.
It's an observation.
Yeah, it's beautiful though.
And
Really
it's a
thank you.
true observation. You can't compliment somebody on something that's fake or superficial. I hate superficial. Like, a buddy of mine used to say, hey, who does your eyebrows? That's a great line. Because, they're always complimenting something else.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good conversation opener. But when we look between the lines, when we read between the lines and present an observation or a question based on that which we see behind the veil, behind the verbiage, eyes being the windows to the soul, if you look deeply into the eyes, you will discover something about that person that is deeply meritorious. And every single one of us has a story. We have deep thoughts. We have deep emotions. We have exhilarating moments in our lives and terrifying moments and moments when we are so deeply sad and can't even imagine why. And those things are stuck within us. I've said before on another podcast, and it bears repeating, if you treat everyone as if their heart is breaking, you're going to be right 90% of the time.
I love that. I hope everybody takes that with them because that is a beautiful sentiment and it's so true. It is so true. Everybody in the world has a lot on their plate in one way or another, and they deserve that grace. They deserve that love. And if you approach with that mindset, it's really a beautiful thing. And yeah, thank you for sharing that because again, I hope that people take that to heart and practice, because that is a skill to practice.
Mhm.
And I also wanted to ask too, while we're on the topic of, suppressing, I don't want to say necessarily suppressing the ego, but when you're notified mentally that this is your ego speaking, and to ask the questions, to be curious in order to let the ego somewhat take a back seat, or to help yourself internally combat the ego.
Mhm.
Are there moments in your life that you can share where you felt your ego climbing and the curiosity fading? And did it take, is there a good example of that where maybe there was a success in the end, or the ego ended up winning, or whatever it was? But is there something that comes to mind when I ask that?
Oh, you got about a month? Uh, right off the bat, there was one time in particular when I was married to this delightful lady, Jill. I was selling vacuum cleaners door to door. I sold Electrolux door to door. We would knock on cold calling.
I
Knock
did
on
the
the
same
door.
thing with Kirby's, and holy shit, is that a hard gig?
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's trial by fire, isn't it? I mean,
Really
you learn
is.
so much about human character, about yourself.
Yeah.
It's massive. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm on the leaderboard several times, and I'm out in Long Beach selling door to door. And Jill wanted to start selling, and she's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
So she went and took the training. She's got her gear in her trunk, and she popped the trunk, and suddenly I felt this overwhelming anxiety, this jealousy that
Mm.
that raged in me,
Mhm.
and I literally could not control the verbiage that was coming out of my mouth. Literally could not control it. And I went, "Oh, really?" And I had to physically stop talking, turn and walk away, because I was really embarrassing myself.
Mhm.
And I thought in that moment, I thought, wow, Jeff, you haven't felt jealousy or that kind of anxiety maybe ever in your life. What was that?
Yeah.
What was that? And so I gave it some thought. I recognized it. First of all, you recognize it. You go, okay, this is my ego speaking.
Yeah.
Who would I be? How would I be performing if I were somebody you admire? I want everybody right here and now to have an avatar. Pick out an avatar, somebody who you truly admire. Maybe somebody in history, maybe somebody in your life, someone who the bar is set so high that you feel like you want to emulate, a hero, if you will.
Mm.
Put that person on stage and superimpose yourself onto and into that person and become that person and see how that feels. With that stature, with that confidence, with that ability to shut up
Yeah.
and to shut off the mind and become curious. Because when you're curious, you come up with the right questions. And you don't overthink it because you want to know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah, truly.
So first recognize that it's the ego. Okay, is this a preconceived idea? Is this something that I've been taught and therefore believe? Is this something I've heard 5 times and therefore it has become the truth? Or is there something else behind it? And if there is, do I want to listen? Sometimes you don't want to listen. None is as blind as he who will not see. And that's an option.
Yeah.
Don't confuse me with the facts. My mind's made up.
Yeah. So in that moment, you feel this internal, it's a conflicting point of view, because you were bringing her into this, and then you saw that, you know, she is really sharp. She might be coming for my title or whatever it was. This ego was getting blown out of proportion. You recognized it was the ego, and then you asked why. Now, did you ever boil that down to what it was? Was it your natural competitive nature that just kind of overcame who you know to be and got blown out of proportion? Or what did the curiosity boil down to?
Good question. So you're doing precisely what we're talking about right here.
Thank you. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. Your best is awesome. So yes, it's many layered. And what I got to on the first layer was I'm the man of the house. Now, understand, this is coming from a time, 50 years ago now, where the man was the breadwinner. Okay, and I don't mean that to be chauvinistic or whatever. It's just what it was, and that was our position. That was the role that we took and accepted and felt responsible for. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, she's going to start outselling me.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be comfortable for me.
Sure.
So the concept of that discomfort, because my own ego was not able to handle that, caused me to become anxious and therefore jealous. And jealousy begins to look like anger, because frustration, anger is a product of frustration. Frustration is a product of being out of control of your circumstances.
Ooh, well said. Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, anger is the product of frustration. Frustration is the product of being out of control of your circumstances. When you're in control, how can you be frustrated?
Yeah.
You're in control.
Yeah.
The moment stuff starts going chaotic, you go, ah!
Yeah.
And then it gets worse and worse and worse, and it builds up and begins to explode and becomes anger. And then you'd start throwing things and smacking people. And because
hey, some people need a smacking. I'm just saying, they never got smacked.
Hey, it's happened more than once.
Right.
Right. Those drive-by slappings, I'll tell you, that's some wicked shit.
Oh.
So,
I gotta say, growing up, once I got spanked, I knew not to get caught again,
I'll tell you, there's always somebody tougher.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
He's got a gun.
Right. Yeah. Worst case scenario.
So that's where you really have to start putting your ego down. And so that was part of it. That was one layer. Okay. That was one layer that was ridiculous and superficial and whatever, but it was honest. It was there. It was real. I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my position as the alpha,
Yeah.
And then it came to my personal awareness, my self-awareness, my ego. I said, well, am I really all that? Am I as good as I think I am?
Yeah.
Am I falsely thinking that I am better than I am? Am I enough? Am I capable? Am I going to be proven less capable than I truly am? So these thoughts are going through my mind, and it's becoming frustrating. And that frustration came out in this jealous rage. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't, I wasn't threatening in any way, but it was just this bile. It was spitting and spewing out of my mouth. I thought, oh Lord, where is this coming from? I just didn't recognize it at all. So then I began to examine it, and And things in the past began to come up, and potential for the future. And is this, do I love her enough to allow her to take that position and that role? Would I be okay with her being better than I was at a particular endeavor?
Yeah.
And I began to recognize that all of that is ego. I'm looking internally instead of externally. I should have been praising her and encouraging her and warming her heart and teaching her everything I knew, so that when she surpassed me, I could take credit for it.
Yeah.
Get right back to
There
my
it is
ego.
again. Yeah. Yeah. But it's so interesting that you say that too, because they say that the only person that ever wants to see, well, only man that ever wants to see you do better than themselves is your father. And I think that that is really interesting, because when I first heard that, it almost, it sent me into such a weird headspace, because I've always wanted the people around me to do so well. I've always wanted to lift them up and just watch them go. And maybe the egotistical side of that was me saying, I got them off the street, or I got them out of drugs. But there's something to be of service. And I don't know if that's ego or not. Maybe I should ask. But there's something that internally, like helping people, that gives me, like, I do want everybody around me to succeed at such a high level. And I don't know if it's for the praise, I don't know if it's for the love, but I like to treat other human beings how I would want to be treated. And I guess that's the kind of love that I show in the world. And maybe it's just in hopes to get that in return, which I may or may not. But I always thought that was interesting when I heard that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the only man that wants you to do better than themselves is your father.
Well, that's a pretty broad umbrella.
Yeah.
And recognizing who you are, Alexander, you are very much a fatherly type. You were so with your sisters, everybody in your family. You always had that beautifully deep felt benevolence in you, and that desire to see people around you succeed and happy and comfortable, and that's what makes you who you are. So there is, and when you recognize that in yourself, that is sort of the flip side of ego. That not all ego is bad, because it is a recognition of self. And when we recognize that the flip side of the ego coin, and we can truly and honestly say, I know who I am. I have a deep burning desire. I have empathy for the world. I want people to do well. I want to pass on. I want a legacy. That is the nurturing side of the ego. That's the side of the ego that recognizes that you are that tender, loving, kind person. Primally, at a primal sense, at our core, innately, we all want to be loved, understood, and appreciated.
Yeah.
So when we give that right off the bat, if we give someone that, if we decide, everything's a decision, including love. Well, sometimes we're victims of love.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also a decision. When something is going badly in a relationship, you can either begin to look for reasons to support your preconceived idea that relationships don't work. Therefore, you will manifest precisely that.
Oh, yeah. I was in that for so long.
Oh, yeah. It's a dangerous downward spiral, and something we are all, most of us, fall victim to.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we can decide to love that person and therefore ask the question, so you can go on the quest. How do I find even more about this person that I truly, deeply love and appreciate and admire? Guess what happens? Subconscious goes on the quest to answer the question.
Beautiful. Yeah.
This works in reverse too. Like when you're putting yourself down,
Yeah.
you say, why am I such a friggin' idiot?
Yeah.
You just asked your subconscious to answer that question.
Yeah.
And it will, because it's your best friend. It'll say, well, you're such an idiot because you don't think about that. You screw this up. You never finish. You got your ego in the way. And you go, oh, okay. That's why I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And you accept it because the subconscious said has answered. It gave you what you wanted.
Yeah.
You just manifested it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely have taken so many things in life, whether they be traumatic or whatever. You know, I was single for so long, and then I got so sick for such a long time and had to rebuild who I was and as an individual. And I just, from that point on, I was like, well, I'm just not capable of being loved. And I would tell myself that all the time, just not capable. And so, and I'm still in awe with my current girlfriend. I ask her all the time, like, you know, how do you love me? Like, this is crazy. It's really a wild thing, you know, because I've ran that through my head for so long. And I do approach our relationship with curiosity and ask her in specific moments, if she's sick, how do you like to be cared for when you're sick? Do you need space? Do you need me to smother you? Do you need food? Do you need, like, how can I love you in certain situations? Because I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, you know? So it's that curiosity, I think, and, you know, it's going to be different in so many different situations, but I just hope that anybody that's out there that, you know, if you're a single individual and you're thinking that you're not capable of being loved, try and rewrite that narrative. What about you is lovable, and how can you make yourself better? How can you either take on something in your life that is going to make you a better individual and capable of loving yourself and having that good internal dialogue, whether it be something as simple as taking one step every single day towards you being more lovable to yourself. You know, maybe the clutter in your house is giving you anxiety, which makes it hard to go to work and have a smile on for people, because, you know, when you get home, there's so much to do, and it bogs you down. And if you take that first step, make your bed in the morning. You don't have to change everything about your life, but take one step each day and continue to make that a routine. Eventually you can tell and believe in yourself when you say that you do love yourself. And this is an uphill battle. I'm still there, right? It's lifelong, I'm sure.
Guilty as charged.
Right. Yeah.
And yes. And my dad used to say, hoe the short rows.
Break that down for me.
The clutter in your house is one thing. The clutter in your mind is something else. Just like the home, nibble away at it a little bit at a time. You know, if the dishes are stacked up, don't look at all the dishes. Look at one plate. Clean one plate.
Yes.
One at a time. Hoe the short rows.
Mm.
You're not going to clean it all at once.
Yeah.
You're not going to clean all this clutter all at once. Take one thing that's at the top of the list. What keeps coming up? What keeps bubbling to the surface? What emotion? What negative concept? What idea? What self-deprecating conversation or comment keeps popping into your mind? Like, why, who the heck would love me? And why? You know, start turning that around and saying, well, let me think about that. What is it that I love about myself? What are my, the things that I can be proud of in a righteous pride? What is it about me that I what do I do well? and actually write those things down. As a matter of fact, here's another tool for everybody. Think about all of the things that you admire about yourself, list them on paper, and record them in a voice recording on your phone, and go to bed with your headphones on listening to that, listening to your own voice.
Mm.
Those are true affirmations. That's not, oh, I'm, king of the world, or no, because your subconscious is going to go, bullshit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Yeah. But if you honestly seek that inside you, which is meritorious and admirable, and you find it, write it down and speak it to yourself, and then listen to it frequently with your headphones on at night, or your earbud, or even your phone, whatever. And you will begin to find more, and that will give you the idea, concept, and expectation that someone else is going to recognize those and love you for it. And then you will deserve love, because we all deserve love. Some of us don't think so. I'm not enough. I'm undeserving. Who could love a guy like me?
Right.
We do that. And that's that self-deprecating thing.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I do want to take a moment. We do have some sponsors of the show. So we're going to go ahead and run a quick ad read here for our sponsors. Give me just a moment. Thank you all for tuning in. And again, I appreciate you being on the show here, Uncle Jeff. This has been super enlightening. And I just love this stuff. This is what it's all about. This is the good stuff. So let me go ahead and let's show some love to our sponsors here. Give me just a moment. And I'm going to play this advertisement for the first time. There's a pre-recorded advertisement. Let's see if we can get it going. This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. T-Town Boxing isn't just a gym. It's a community where you can build confidence, discipline, lifelong skills, whether you're stepping into the ring for the first time or sharpening your techniques. From kids to adults, beginners to experienced fighters, T-Town Boxing offers a space to grow, train, and challenge yourself. So, if you're ready to push your limits and join an amazing community, reach out to T-Town Boxing on Instagram at Instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Again, Instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Back to the show. All right. Thank you, T-Town Boxing, for sponsoring People Helping People. That is such an amazing gym. I love those guys. And Jake over there, he is really an incredible trainer. He's training Golden Glove boxers left and right. And we do have one more sponsor for you guys. This is my buddy Ari's company, and he is really doing God's work out there. It's called Cars for Tucson. He's giving away cars to people that are underprivileged and need transportation. So one car repair can create a powerful ripple effect. For a low-income family struggling with housing, a reliable vehicle means they can hold on to their job, access childcare, and avoid spiraling into homelessness. Cars for Tucson understands this. They exist to provide affordable, sometimes free, critical car repairs to ensure these families stay connected to their livelihoods and their homes. They also want to give out cars for free to people that need them. That's carsfortucson.org. Be a part of this positive ripple effect. Your donations help prevent homelessness one car or one repair at a time. Visit carsfortucson.org to learn more and give today. Again, that's carsfortucson.org. Thanks so much for being a sponsor of the show. We love you guys. And back with Jeffrey Vanderveer.
That is a beautiful benevolence. And cars for Tucson. I love you guys. That's
Isn't that
that's
amazing?
where that's where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll put that in the next ad read. I like that. Yeah. But it's something about having this show, and it seems as though after every single live stream that we have with the audience that we have, I mean, they are such incredible people that are joining us every day. And after every single show, somebody reaches out to me. Somebody reaches out to me with either a nonprofit or something amazing. I just got off the phone with somebody who does a summer camp for children with type 1 diabetes. They want me to come talk at their show. I mean, there's just like, or at their camp, maybe be a camp counselor, but it's just really incredible the ripple effect that this show is having. And I want to thank everybody who's been joining us and tuning in and reaching out and leaving us comments. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude, and I'm just so thankful. I can't say it enough. And so thank you all for being here. Really appreciate you. And I want to ask before we go, Uncle Jeff, I really appreciate the topics that you brought up today. And we could just sit here and talk for hours. I mean, just go on tangents about life, love, wisdom, strife, you name it. And, I really appreciate you being on the show. But is there anything that you want to leave with the audience before we take off here today?
Well, let's take a real quick review. You're on the threshold of wisdom when you have successfully replaced ego with curiosity.
Mm.
Treat everyone as if their heart is breaking, and you'll be right 90% of the time. And ask yourself provocative questions, the answer to which will expand your wisdom, your skill, your tenderness, your kindness, and your love. Mm. And always include, how can I even better or even more? Because that instills in you the idea that you are already on the move, doing that very thing.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that is for you. Thanks for completing another amazing episode of People Helping People. And if people wanted to reach you, how could they do so?
Well, a couple of ways to do it. My email is simply my name, Jeff Vandeveer @yahoo.com. And if you like, you can call me. I have no objection to that whatsoever. Text is probably better because I'm not going to answer the first call if I don't recognize the number. It's going to go to voicemail because I get all kinds of junk. And that number is 714-655-7365.
Beautiful. And if people were to reach out to you, what would you be providing?
I am a coach. I am NLP. I am a hypnotherapist, counselor, and I know a little bit about construction too, but don't ask me about construction.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. And we look forward to the next one. So if anybody has any questions for Jeffrey Vandeveer, just go back and listen. There's a few ways to get in contact with him. And we appreciate you being a part of the community. And I love you.
Love you, Alexander.
Thanks so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you all got some wisdom, some nuggets out of that. I know I sure did. And something that's so fun with Jeff on the show is kind of looking in the mirror, right? Looking in the mirror and seeing, diving deep into what is, gosh, I mean, let me rephrase what I'm saying here. Being able to have open-ended conversations about things that a lot of people may or may not understand, like your own ego, is such an important part of life, in finding control in your purpose, control in your passions, control in your trajectory of where you're going in life. And it's not necessarily about taking control of those things, but understanding that it is a part of the bigger picture. So when we sit here and we discuss these things, I am looking internally at myself of all these moments in life where I can use work. We can all use work. And so if there's anything that you've taken from this episode, I would say just start recognizing your thoughts. Recognize and be curious. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And Jeff, I appreciate you so much for bringing that to my attention and to my audience attention. Just be curious. Ask yourself questions and rewire your brain to be open-ended. Don't close the door. Your thoughts are not final, and you can change anything in your life in a positive way if you allow yourself and be curious enough to do so. So again, I want to thank everybody for being a part of this live stream. I truly appreciate all of you. And if you step over to the Instagram, it's instagram.com/people helping people live. On YouTube, we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, youtube.com/people helping people live. And again, this is my favorite type of content. I've never done anything in my life I've felt this passionate about, and it's all thanks to you guys supporting. So thank you so much. And let's go ahead and run this outro. Give me 1 second here. I'm still figuring out how to make this smooth and sweet for y'all. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Everybody, have a beautiful evening. This is day 3 of 30 People Helping People Live, and I hope y'all have a great night. Take care.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.